Good morning and welcome back to another episode of Around the Indoor Football World, where we discuss all the major indoor football leagues, whether that's the IFL, the NAL, the AF1, the AAL, the TAL, and definitely today we'll be discussing the AIF as well as a couple other leagues, I'm sure. So without further ado, let's hit the intro video. We'll come right back and then we'll get into it for you guys. Thank you all for being here this morning already. And if you haven't done so, make sure to hit the like button, comment, and share this out to your friends. I'm sure you have some other indoor football fans in your life that would love to watch the show with you as well. All right. Love it. So already a bunch of comments rolling in. And, obviously there's really only one place we can start today. But before we get into that, TJ, how are you doing this morning, man?
Hey, man, I'm doing good. Excited for all kinds of different alternative football this weekend. But
Yes, sir.
arena and indoor at the top of my list.
Yes, sir. Krish, how are you doing this morning, man?
Doing good, excited for our game tomorrow. Time to put belt on New Mexico, so excited for it.
We will definitely get into that and a lot more on the IFL a little bit later on. We've got a lot to talk about today. But as I mentioned before, there is only one place we can start today. And before we get to that, I'm going to run through the comments real quick that we already have because, man, there's a lot of them already. Project Superfan, good morning, everyone. Stream Elements, as always, make sure to hit your like button. That definitely helps us grow this show and get it out to more viewers as well. Ducon with Do More Films on YouTube checking in. Project Superfan, how's everyone doing this morning? Got some good weight games to watch tonight. Yes, we do. Cannot wait. Ducon here. Thanks for keeping the show going. Also, I lost your number, Sam. Haven't known how to get a hold of you. Ducon, if you're still watching, man, I will make sure to shoot you a direct message after the show. And you can always contact me on Facebook at Sam Shady, of course. And that goes for anybody who wants to get a hold of me. Feel free to hit me up on Facebook at Sam Shady. Corey Parsons checking in. Anything on why Coach Rez left Wheeling? I did see that. Yeah, we covered that a couple weeks ago. There was a bunch of situations going on between him and the organization. Really not going to cover that too much more. But Chris McKinney is now the head coach. Great hire for Wheeling, and we're excited for their season so far. Does AIF stand for another idiotic fudge up? Except I don't mean fudge. Sea-Dog the Goat checking in as well. And then also, I hope it's not the brawl we talk about. Well, come on. That happened last night. You don't expect us to talk about that? Not only are we going to talk about it, got a little something for you guys this morning. So we'll go ahead and kick it up this way, and then we'll be back in about 30 seconds.
Let's get ready to rumble!
All right, so as you just saw there, shout out to Pylon Productions for that download or that video. He clipped that and then gave me the permission to use it this morning. So obviously we're playing around with this a little bit. This is not a funny situation, despite the fact that, my attempts at making it a little bit funny and a little bit more entertaining. But at the end of the day, obviously, as you saw in that video, there is very clearly a coach that leaves the Cedar Rapids bench, walks around back through the hallway, comes onto the bench for Wyoming, and assaults a coach from behind. That is not what we want to see in professional sports. And I was jokingly saying to our group chat last night that was the last spot on my bingo card was a bench clearing brawl, because up to this point we've had teams fold, we've had teams or not fold but be removed from the league due to violations, we've had a massive restructure of the schedule, we've had now a bench clearing brawl, and we've even had an owner play snaps on the field. So just a crazy season for the AIF. But let's go to you guys first. Krish, what are your thoughts on this?
I think it's just embarrassing for the league. And it's embarrassing for Coach Krantz. That was the coach who started the fight. I mean, you watch the footage, it says what it is. Coach Krantz sits on YouTube, Facebook, and he acts like he's one of the best coaches to ever coach the sport. He's just part of the problem, honestly, and he shouldn't be coaching professional football. He proved that in Amarillo, the train wreck of a program he ran down there. He's good at getting sponsorships. Maybe he should work in the front office somewhere, but, it's just embarrassing. He let the whole community down. He let, his players down. One of the guys I knew personally within that video trying to restrain Coach from fighting. That should never be the case. So I think if Cedar Rapids wants to move forward, they should go ahead and terminate him as head coach moving forward. I believe that's the only way forward, to be honest.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Krish. He's part of an ownership at this point, right?
No, he's the head coach and GM on there.
Okay, I thought he was in the ownership as well. But yeah, definitely not good. Obviously, not great to see this situation happen. But there's another comment that I wanted to get to real quick before I get to TJ for his opinion here. But excuse me. Frederick Elliott had an interesting post this morning of staff members drinking beer on their bench. Not a good look. And from what I heard, Fred Elliott was not the only one who posted similar things. This has been a report that's kind of going around the grapevine at the moment. And if that's the case, man, I mean, come on, how unprofessional can you be? You're at your place of business. You don't drink at your place of business. So. Obviously not a great look for the league, for the team, for anybody involved. And I'm sure, after the statement and after the way they handled the game last night, nobody's very happy. But TJ, with all that in mind, what are your thoughts on the fight, the way it was handled, the statement by the AIF, all of it?
Oh, well, I mean, I got to echo Krish on the first point. It's just embarrassing. It really is. He touched on the team specifics and the community specifics of it. From a league standpoint, that's a PR nightmare. Not only did you have a bench clearing fight, but it was not started by emotions on the field. It was caused by somebody being where they weren't supposed to be because supposedly they were a little buzzed up. That's an absolute nightmare, and they had to call the game afterwards. Come on. It's if they want to be a legitimate league, they have to get just better overall teams and people in there. Now, I'm not saying that about all the teams because there are some teams that haven't had noticeable problems and everything else, but it's the classic mindset of get the problem child away from the nice children, so to speak. And perfect timing for you to put that post up because I posted that in our chat last night that one of the threads with the fight on it, people were saying, yeah, I'm at the game. Those coaches, we saw that coach that started it. He was chugging beers the whole first half and everything else. And it's like, man, how do you have staff members not only getting alcohol on the sidelines, but also drinking it in front of the fans, the young fans, the kids, everything? It's just the more details that come out about this, it gets worse and worse, man. I appreciate the fact that they put out a statement super fast about it and everything. That was good. But I would not want to be involved in the AIF this morning trying to figure out that whole mess from last night, put it that way.
That is a fair point. And to be fair, I actually did not see the coach who started things drinking. I saw what I believe was the coach who actually got assaulted was the one who was drinking it from the pictures I saw and the video I saw from Fred Elliott. But I mean, honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if we found out that several people in this situation had been drinking before the game. But like you said, I mean, if you're gonna drink before the game, why are you doing it in plain view of the fans to where they can take pictures of video? Like, that is just asinine to me. But I really don't want to spend a ton of time on this subject because obviously we all know here as indoor football fans, there's just so much bad press that goes around because of situations like this that we don't want to tear down the game, right? And that's ultimately what happened last night, was just a mockery of what a lot of these great leagues do. You know, this stuff like this would not be allowed in other leagues. You know, that coach would be suspended or fired and stuff like that. So we'll see what the AIF does, but I feel like that would have been handled a lot differently. You know, say if this was the NAL or the IFL, or, you know, first of all, I don't think the stuff would happen in those leagues, but it's just a crazy situation all the way around. But with that being said, we can kind of move on and talk about some of the AF1 stuff from this week so far. So there's quite a bit on the transaction front. Some interesting names popped up and came across the transaction wire, specifically Malik McDowell, who is signed with Beaumont. And then you also have another defensive lineman, one that we're very fond of here at the show, Shahan Williams, has signed with Albany. And then you also have Bo Bell, a former North Michigan product, has signed with the Michigan Arsenal. We also have Henry Nell placed on the PUP list, which obviously is a huge deal for Albany right before the season starts. He's a great kicker, so losing him right at the last minute is not a good situation. TJ, any of those moves stick out to you?
I mean, you know, they're all just team building, roster building, stuff like that. You know, the season's still a month away. I'll be interested to see really the additions, subtractions, if you will, once we get closer and we know what the final rosters will be come game day, opening weekend.
A couple questions here in the chat. Give the real meaning to beer league or bush league. That's so true. This type of stuff never happens in women's sports. I wouldn't necessarily say that. Women are just as prone to get emotional and fight. But does it get broadcast as much? Absolutely not. As someone that was rooting for the AIF to figure it out this season, they have literally done everything they could to ensure they are seen as a joke. There are people in the background doing all they can to fix it, but they were brought in too late to make a difference. Definitely a little concerning for sure. Are we certain it was beer he was drinking? Dukan, I'm not 100% certain, but I saw the cup that he was drinking, and I saw the liquid that was in it myself, and in a still shot that Fred posted. And, you know, unless somebody's got some really good AI skills, it sure looks like beer to me. You know, and we've all been at sports events. You know, the cups are clear typically a lot of times. So in this particular case, it was clear. You can very clearly see the color of the liquid. To me, like I said, it looked exactly like beer. And to my knowledge, they're not selling apple juice at a lot of these arenas. So I don't really know what else it could be. So if somebody else has an idea what it could be, and there is a reasonable explanation that is not beer, by all means, hit me with it. I would love to hear it. You know, I don't want to accuse anybody of anything that they were doing that they did not actually do. So I saw on Facebook that the coaches and staff were drinking during the game last night. Brawl for one and one for brawl. Brian checking in. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate you being here. While it is true that everything comes from the top down, I think it's important not to judge the entire AIF by the actions of a few individuals. Let's not overreact before the investigation. Completely fair on that as well. I wouldn't want my brand associated with AIF, but Arena Football World is different. That's a fair point. Fishers and Green Bay Blizzard game is going to be a really great game. I agree. Fred actually put a video up of him drinking in the bench area and on the field. On the field, huh? Wow. As the season goes on, it will show more and more. You know, it's bad when the officials didn't even want to go into area to separate the fight. They stood on the field. Yeah, actually, if you look really closely at the video, one of them throws a flag after like 14 people are fighting. I didn't really understand the point of that. Like he very clearly threw it up in the air too. So I don't know I don't know what his point was there. The AIF just needs to fold, in my opinion. What a disastrous league. I don't know about fold, but there definitely needs to be a removal of a couple people involved and maybe some restructuring, some dramatic restructuring. Habitually carries shooters with him to avoid the shakes. Talked to a guy involved with the failed Don Monteiro team, and he said the coach drinks from the time he wakes up until he goes to sleep. Yikes. There's 2 videos of the beer. Kind of hard to AI that. Henry and Nell is a huge loss. Okay, so tons of comments rolling in about this subject, of course. Lots to think about. But Krish, are you still with us, buddy? Did you have any thoughts on some of these AF1 transactions? I know you put a lot of them on the list.
Yeah, so Malik McDowell signed with Beaumont. They continue to overpay, and try to build their team. Henry Nell, I think Henry Nell will be back before the season starts. That's my opinion. They signed this kicker receiver who I know well. He won't be able to play at the arena level, in my opinion. He's more of an indoor style guy. I don't think he'll fit. And then let's see, what else? What were the other ones? Let's see, I think Bo Bell signed with Michigan, so that's a DB for them. I don't know if he'll make the team. I don't think he will. And then Shahan Williams signing with Albany. They're just trying to build up that D-line. That's the final piece in that room, so that's a good move for them. So all the moves kind of make sense to me, to be honest.
I would agree. Very excited to see what Shahan can do up there with Albany. He's had kind of a little bit of a rough stretch the past couple seasons with Orlando folding last year, and then him having to kind of bounce around a little bit there. The South Texas division needs to do something different next year. And then Casey Smith checking in. Glad we won the last legit AIF championship. Don't disagree there, my friend. And honestly, even then, the AIF was a little bit of a mess, but at least they had some solid teams with Harrisburg and Columbus and Corpus Christi and a couple other teams at the time that had a pretty solid foundation before moving on. So, anything else you guys wanted to cover with the AF1?
No, they start training camp here. A lot of teams report today, tomorrow, so we'll start to hear a lot of news out of camp for sure. I would agree.
I'm very, very interested to see this season. I think there's a couple different teams at the top that are really going to be contenders. We're going to end up finding out this team is top heavy, but at the same time, it's not quite to the point where it's just going to be Albany and Nashville anymore. I think Minnesota is going to be competitive. I think Kentucky's going to be competitive. I think there's going to be a bunch of teams that kind of fight for the top.
What I want to know is how long it takes before the vets start leaving Minnesota. I'm interested to see that. I mean, Rome Weber, they released him this week, and that's one of their more veteran DBs, from Vegas. So I'm just interested to see, how long that lasts in Minnesota.
We'll see. They might not leave. I mean, if the money's right, veterans will tolerate a lot, right? Not, hard to blame them, especially at this level. For the record, if you're tuning in and you're a TAL fan, we will have General Manager James Fisher Jr., who was literally just hired earlier this week by the Memphis Hound Dogs on in about half an hour. And then we may or may not be joined by another guest here shortly. But before we get to anybody else or any other topics, we're going to hit a quick commercial break, and then we'll come right back.
You hear that? That's football coming back to Louisiana. The Louisiana Rouxgaroux are storming the arena with speed, power, and nonstop action, hard hits, fast scores, and an electric night out for the whole family. It all starts February 28th. 7 home games, 1 house, the Brookshire Grocery Arena. Tickets range from $24 to $34. Football isn't over. It's just moved inside. Scan the QR code to secure your tickets or visit LouisianaRouxgaroux.com.
you climb. Maybe stairs. The records you set. Maybe personal. The fans you inspire. Maybe family. No lights, no camera, just action. You don't have to be a pro. You just need HoneyStinger.
How many times a week? Like three or four times, maybe.
I gotta pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
Like you said, share this out if you haven't done so already. We could definitely use the assistance. As always, we are trying to grow this show and many, many others. So the more shares, the more assistance you give. Also, if you didn't check out the links in the comments yet, make sure to support the companies that support us, namely the Omaha Beef, the Wheeling Miners, Columbus Lions, as well as the Louisiana Rouxgaroux. And then also, check out our other sponsors, whether that's Upside, Pro Level Sports, or also HoneyStinger. So just some obligatory shout outs there for the people who help keep this thing moving all the time. Excuse me. All right, so let's get to some NAL topics. Man, there's quite a bit coming out of this last weekend. Obviously we had a couple more games. We had some surprising finishes. We have a team that is currently 2-0, and may make Krish eat a little bit of crow. So that sounds like a good place to start. Krish, did you have any chance in hell that Pueblo would come out of the Omaha game 2-0 heading into the season?
No, not at all, honestly. And that's where, I might have made a misstep, honestly. I think Pueblo has come out and they played a physical brand of football. And I've yet to see a team out of these two games, compete with them on a physical level and try to go toe to toe. And so defensively, I'm shocked by their defense with James Terry and what he's doing with that unit. I mean, he deserves a lot of credit. I mean, what they have 4 stops, 5 turnovers forced in 2 games. So super impressive for an offensive coach to be calling defense at a high level like he's doing it. He deserves a lot of credit. Pueblo, they're about to go 3-0 tonight, and them starting 3-0 is putting a lot of people on notice. So, yeah, very surprising.
Agreed. TJ, what are your thoughts coming out of this Omaha Beef game?
Man, going in after last week's showing from Pueblo, I was a little nervous. I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was gonna be a close game, but I thought, Omaha was gonna. I pretty much thought Omaha was gonna do what the Punishers ended up doing. Put the stamp on in the fourth quarter, maybe even score a defensive touchdown or something, or a big offensive play just to put the game away. Instead, it was the Punishers that did it. So. They came out, they played extremely physical. Their front was in the backfield almost the entire game. It didn't help that Demery Croft didn't play. But I don't want to take anything away from Pueblo, man. They played lights out, especially on the defensive side. Everyone who is thinking, like the sky's falling in Omaha, man, it's one game, relax. Okay. I mean, to look back, if you're on Omaha's side, it's kind of a double-edged sword because you lost, but at the same time you almost did it when your offense basically did nothing outside of that first drive of the game. So it's not all storm clouds and thunder lightning for Omaha right now. It sucks that they lost week 1, but hey man, they're a great team. I'm sure they're going to bounce back, and we'll see tonight how they do. But overall, man, I think Pueblo, going into the season, for me, they were kind of a fringe team in terms of playoffs, but they're definitely rising to the top of the league, and I would be honestly shocked, I guess, if they fell off bad enough, barring any kind of injury or anything, to not make it into the playoffs this season, because they really are coming out as that good of a team in the NAL this year.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think for Omaha in terms of, I was at the game, so I kind of saw what went sideways for them. It comes down to, offensive production. And if you can't produce, you can't win. You scored 0 offensive points in the second half of the game. You scored 14 for the entire game. And you didn't kick a field goal when you were up 6. You could have went up 9. And I love Coach, that's my guy, right? But he used a timeout to call an inside zone, right? He wasted a timeout. So when you waste timeouts are critical. Tyler didn't play a good game. He didn't really see the field well. He forced a lot of throws. He locked in on one receiver, and so he wasn't moving his feet in the pocket well. Defensively, I thought they did some good things. Coach Locke just needs to get those DBs playing more at a high level. I think with getting Ponce de Leon back tonight, Ja'Shawn Washington coming back to the D-line will help. But, yeah, just a really disappointing game for Omaha. It doesn't meet the standard at all, and I think they're under. This is why I said last week, this game is bigger for Omaha than it is for Pueblo because of who Omaha has coming up, right? They got Salina, Southwest, Sioux City, and Colorado coming up. So it's a, rough road ahead per se, but I think they'll get it turned around. I mean, they added some pieces this week. I don't know how much of a difference Demon Croft makes. I think he makes a little bit of a difference, but I don't think if he played last week, I still think they would have lost if he played, in my opinion. So.
Interesting take. Let's just run over some of the stats. And just to be clear, I'm a huge Tyler Lowenstein fan. That man is one of my friends as far as I'm concerned. I've known him for many years. I think he's a great guy. I think he would tell you he played a terrible game, just so we're all clear. So we're not piling on. I'm strictly pointing this out because I think this gives a lot of context to the game. I'm not making excuses for the beef, but when your quarterback produces 9 of 23 passing, has 2 interceptions and 1 touchdown, and only throws for 52 yards, it's going to be incredibly hard to win that game. So especially when the quarterback on the other side did not have the same issues. Yes, he threw a couple interceptions, but he was ultimately 17 of 29, 3 touchdown passes, and ultimately, made some plays when it mattered the most. Granted, like we talked about, that Pueblo defense is playing really well. So that's a big part of this problem for Omaha. Their offensive line had some struggles, but then again, so did Colorado's the week before. So, is this an offensive line problem for the teams they're playing, or is this just a really good defensive unit for Pueblo currently? And right now, I'm leaning towards the second of those two statements there. That Pueblo just has a really good defense, and as Krish mentioned before, it's being really well called so far this season. So,
well, and another thing I want to point out is, Omaha in the preseason game. I believe Omaha is the best kicker in the league by far. I think he's amazing. I mean, he played at Iowa State, all Big 12 kicker. First kick, 40 yards, right down the middle, right? He went 4 for 4 in PATs. But on special teams, Brandon Stewart, the Pride special teams coach they got over there, right? His unit allowed over 100 kickoff return yards in 5 returns. So the reason why, in my opinion, is I said during the preseason game, they should have played the Chase, their normal kicker, instead of have their 45-year-old retired kicker chase an old record, in my opinion. He should have got reps with the special teams unit because I think reps are important. And the preseason game is a great opportunity to get those reps. So that was a missed opportunity for them, in my opinion.
Fair point. So I'm going to pull up some transactions here, and we're just going to kind of go over like how much of a change there was for Omaha this week after this game. So starting there on the 16th, you see Terrence Tolbert, McIntyre, and Tyler Lowenstein were released basically a couple days after the game. They brought in an offensive lineman, Isaiah Paradis. Running back Tobias Taylor has returned to Omaha again. James Jones III, big body wide receiver out of New Mexico State University. Then Isaiah Paradis was gone again. I'm not quite sure what happened there. William Langford also, who both these receivers, Krish, if you correct me if I'm wrong, they were both with Oregon, right? Jamon Langford and James Jones III.
James Jones, I think, was with Washington. Yeah, but Langford was with Oregon. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. And then moving up here, they also signed Daquan Dudley. This move right here, Trey Dudley Giles being released. If you want to send a message, that move right there, I believe, sent a message that first regular season game was not good enough, and that they were going to make significant moves in order to move forward. And they have so far. Signing 5 players and releasing 5 players, all in the span of 1 week since your first regular season game. That's a lot of movement, and that sends a message to the team that that performance was not good enough, and we're not going to tolerate that moving forward. So I think this obviously comes from the top down with Omaha. Obviously, always the standard is the standard, as they always talk about. So I definitely think that this is them putting their actions are following what they always say. They lost handedly, so they went out and made changes and are taking steps forward toward hopefully finding success in the future. But any other transactions there, Krish, that or TJ for that matter, that stuck out to you guys?
I think Amarillo signing a new quarterback. I think it just shows how bad they are at recruiting, and they can't bring in talent. If I was Amarillo, the smart thing to do would be to hit up San Antonio and Tulsa and work out a deal. Any players that get cut, we get first dibs on type deal. But it's instead they just want to sign a quarterback. He played down with the Hamburg Sea Devils. I think he did not play well at all. I watched him in all the games for Hamburg, so. His release is not conducive to arena football either, so I think he'll struggle. But it's surprising they signed him. They didn't really make any other moves. I watched their coaching show on Monday night. The coach could care less about if they won or lost, honestly. They seem like they had no care in the world. They want to take their guys out to the park and do yoga. That's going to help. Yoga is going to help you score more than a touchdown. So that's what it is, though.
You crack me up so much with this, Krish. Just in time,
I'm
Cody.
so obsessed with this yoga thing.
How's it going,
Howdy,
man?
hey.
Thanks for joining us. We are just now talking about the Amarillo situation. I know you saw the group chat conversation about the yoga in the park. So Krish had to make his obligatory mention. TJ, I know you touched on it a moment ago. What are your thoughts? I mean, you're a coach, or you're a former coach, sorry, and you've been involved in the sport. Is it surprising to you that they were doing yoga, or doing yoga and making a post about it? Let's put it that way.
No, I mean that shows that you're team building, that you're together. It makes the community feel like you're more of a team, more of a family. Teams do that kind of stuff all the time. They post it. It's almost like a catch-22. It's when they share stuff, we pick on what they share. When they don't share stuff, they're being too quiet. It's but for me, it's just a team building exercise, and to share it on Facebook, I mean, that's good. Again, you're marketing that you're a team, you're a family, and you're doing stuff together, and you're just making yourself more relatable. I don't see a problem with it. It is funny that Krish does, though. That's he's hinging on it.
He really is. This is the second time it's been mentioned in a couple of days. So, Cody, what are your thoughts on yoga in the park, the Omaha loss, and the AIF fight? We'll even go back that far.
We'll start with the yoga. My first thought is if it works for Lane Kiffin and the tail that he's able to pull in those pictures, then I need to start doing yoga. But it's not an issue, man. Like people, like if you were able to be that flexible in your 20s and 30s, Lord knows I can't even freaking touch my toes. So I probably need to start doing it. Yoga's fine, especially posting about it and stuff like that. I don't think it's necessarily an issue at all. The fight. people are going to do stupid stuff, man. It's not the first time we've seen fights in the stands or fights with players or fights with coaches or anything like that. It won't be the last time, unfortunately, especially in these leagues, man. Now, some of these leagues have been able to clean up their stuff, but you can go back a couple of seasons. It happened between Bay Area and San Diego in the IFL. It's happened between Massachusetts and Arizona. It's happened like in all these other leagues. To say that it won't happen again, you're boneheaded to think that. Just anger and aggression for some of these guys, it's just it happens. It sucks, man. It sucks that it happens that way because you wish cooler heads would prevail, but some people take their anger out different ways, I guess. But finally, Omaha's loss. Krish's bad luck. That's all I really have.
There we go. Krish travels to Omaha. They lose the game. Facts are facts. I'm just saying. No, I'm just kidding. Krish was in their ear all week, distracting him. That's what it was.
I think Pueblo played a pretty good game, all things considered. Like, they were really sound. And I don't want to say they caught Omaha off guard. They played their game, and Omaha didn't really have like an answer. Now, with that being said, Omaha didn't have their quarterback, and you can put that into consideration, but it should be a next man up mentality, and it just wasn't really there. So, yeah.
And can I point out one thing about the Omaha game too? That officiating crew is horrible. Like for both teams, like terrible, like beyond. Like they need. I don't know how. I don't know how they keep doing it. Like, it's terrible. It's so bad, and it's obvious how bad it is. Like,
that's fair.
Yeah, I mean, you can blame the refs. Definitely, there'll be some ref ball in every single league and every single game. I don't know if I would necessarily consider that, but I can get the point. I truly can. We'll see how it goes throughout the rest of the season, but I'm not ready to really blame the refs on it. It was just Omaha got caught at the wrong place, wrong time, and Pueblo capitalized, all things considered. I'm not ready to crown Pueblo, but at the same time, you're just like, hey, this team might be off to something here. So you got to keep your eye on them at least.
Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
I have heard that was the exact speech Brandon Negron gave right after the game. So on that note, like Cody said, we're not necessarily ready to crown Pueblo. Are they exceeding expectations from most of us on this show? 100% they are. I am a Colorado native, as you all know. I've kind of been rocking with Pueblo since day one. I'm a huge Tay Brooks fan, so I was going to support the team regardless, whether he was in Colorado or Alaska. It didn't matter. But at the end of the day, he ended up in my backyard, an hour away from where I live. So of course I was going to support the Punishers. I think even I'm surprised to see them 2-0 after this game. I had them at best 1-1. Colorado and Omaha are two of the better teams in the league. So obviously we're all taking notice of what they've been able to accomplish so far. But at the same time, it's early, so let's not necessarily assume that they're going to be a championship contender quite yet. There's still a lot of work to be done on all fronts by all teams, and moves like we just talked about, bringing in a quarterback, Jalen Tragle, there in Amarillo. They also brought in Jalen Jackson. My fault. I always forget his last name.
He was down there with Ozarks.
Yeah, so exactly. He was really good with Ozarks, if I remember correctly. So, he was a solid defensive back there. You bring him in, and actually, despite what Krish said about Tragle, I actually think that his game does translate really well to the indoor game. I do think that you're right. His release is kind of funky, and it's definitely something they may have to work on. But his athleticism, I think, lends itself to an indoor style offense. So I think that Amarillo is going to be able to do some things with him. And I also don't think on their case, I don't think this is a recruiting problem. I don't think they intended on losing their starting quarterback, Talon Shaw, in the second week of the season, to what appears to be a season-ending injury. So I think you have to scramble. You have to bring in another starting caliber quarterback. And that's why I think you go out and get a guy like Tragle. And trust me when I say he had other interest from other NAL teams and chose to go to Amarillo for the chance to start. So with that being said, I mean, obviously multiple teams were looking at him, and he's a talented player. Whether or not he can translate indoors is going to remain to be seen, right? This is his first time playing indoors, to my knowledge. So I think his game translates, but you can project whatever you want until it's played. So that's what I always like to say. So we got a couple minutes before we bring on our next guest, although he has already joined us. I always appreciate a punctual guest. We're going to go through a couple comments here. I'd say don't sleep on Kentucky, but that's just me. In my eyes, they're building something special. Completely agree, and I think everybody on this panel would agree as well. Cedric Walker has built a hell of a team out there in Kentucky, and we're excited to see what they can do on the field. I think the AF1 will have more teams able to compete against Nashville and Albany this year. The bottom will still be the bottom, but it won't be as bad as last year. I would agree, and then I would also say don't count out a team like Washington that could make the playoffs and make some noise in the playoffs late. Sometimes professionalism involves optics, including making sure nothing that appears like beer is on the sideline with the coaches. Just my 2 cents, and this comes from somebody who's been involved in the sport himself, so probably a valid 2 cents there. Is Memphis the last announced TAL team? No, they are not. Actually, that was, I believe, Louisiana Monroe, although James Fisher was the last general manager named, and it was earlier this week. So no, Casey Smith, Monroe, Louisiana was. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate that. Pueblo may win the NAL crown this year. I'm just as shocked as a lot of other people are, but that's the beauty of this game. 100% agree on that. Make sure you're hitting the like button, of course. Ben McToy checking in. What's up, man? Thank you for watching. Appreciate that. I still got Omaha beef football to take it all. Brandon Negron will make the changes he needs to turn it around. That's a lot of faith after week 1 for sure. Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you guys. Pueblo has great coaching. That helps a lot, without a doubt. I think that trio are probably 3 of the better coaches out in their respective realms. We had some questions about them existing as co-head coaches, but so far so good. The game against Pueblo wasn't the Omaha standard, but they'll be fine and we'll get back on track this season. Some of the best defensive coaches are either offensive-minded or former offensive coordinators. Ralph, are you making a move to defense soon, or is that what you're elaborating on here? A lot of adjustments for the Beef. Excited to see a restored rivalry with Salina. Amarillo is in trouble, in my opinion. Kevin says yoga is a non-issue, coming from a commissioner of a league, former coach as well. Casey Smith, yoga isn't yoga if it isn't goat yoga. I'm going to need some elaboration on that comment. I have no idea what that means.
I can elaborate.
Okay, go for it.
So you do yoga with goats, and they have the goats like stand on your back and stuff like that. So like it's extra weight and supposed to I guess help pop your joints and stuff like that. Now it could be completely wrong on it, but it's pretty much you're doing yoga with goats, and they help you with it. So yeah.
All right, you learn something new every day, I guess.
There you go.
Amarillo will be fine. First year organization. There will be growing pains. That ownership and coaching staff.
No, they won't. Come on, man. You've been defending Amarillo since week 1. I don't know. You gotta get out the bed, man. Get out the bed. You gotta be real, man. I want to see you on the show when they're 1-9 at the end of the season.
Warning.
Oh yeah, sorry. Forgot my obligatory video.
Warning.
Sorry. Krish gets a little feisty at points in time. I actually disagree. I think that they will be okay. I think they have a really good coaching staff there, and I think
if the coaching staff was good, then why did the head coach get suspended for 5 games? That's my opinion. You know what I mean? Why did he get suspended for cheating if he was so good?
Refresh my memory, my friend. Weren't you the one lauding their hire of one J.I. Anderson after that?
He's not the head coach.
Yeah, I know, but isn't he the one standing in?
Yeah, and he's not doing a good job either. So,
okay, I just wanted to see you admit you were wrong, I guess. But ton more comments here, but we're gonna roll through them in a minute. We're gonna hit a quick commercial break, then we'll be back with our first guest of the morning, James Pfister Jr., the new general manager of the Memphis Hound Dogs. Like I said, we will get to the comments. I know there's a lot more that I haven't read yet. I promise, guys, we're gonna get to them. But on that note, quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
That's football coming back to Louisiana. The Louisiana Rouxgaroux are storming the arena with speed, power, and non-stop action. Hard hits, fast scores, and an electric night out for the whole family. It all starts February 28th. 7 home games, 1 house. The Brookshire Grocery Arena. Tickets range from $24 to $34. Football isn't over. It's just moved inside. Scan the QR code to secure your tickets or visit LouisianaRouxgaroux.com.
How many times a week? Like three, four times, maybe.
I'm gonna pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
All right, we are joined by James Fisher Jr., the new general manager of the Memphis Hound Dogs. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing well. I might have to get some goat yoga after this because y'all.
Right? Like who knew? I didn't know that was a thing. But
yeah, me either. I started Googling and I was like, "What the heck?" But okay, cool. But no, appreciate you guys for having me on, man. I'm definitely excited. Definitely long time, observer of the show and things like that. You guys are definitely the front runners of keeping this league alive and keeping us all informed, even myself, informed of what's going on. So appreciate it.
Hey, man, kind words there. I really appreciate that.
Sure.
Contrary to a popular belief, we've been doing this for like 5 years now, so we're glad that we're finally to this point. It's been a lot of hard work, but speaking of hard work, as I mentioned a moment ago, you were just hired as the general manager of the Memphis Hound Dogs. I believe it was earlier this week, or you were announced earlier this week.
So it was announced, but it's kind of been in the wings and things like that. So I'll be full transparent with you guys. I mean, of course, these processes take a while. So when I got the call from Mr. Jeff and Mr. Tommy, of course, they were kind of picking my brain on kind of locations and things like that. At the time, I'm in Dallas, going between Dallas and Georgia, doing some things. So I was like, okay. And, when I got the call, I was like, what do you think about Memphis? I said, Memphis? I said, that's the first thing I said, honestly. I was like, Memphis. I was like, what's going on in Memphis? He goes, hey, they're getting the team. I was like, okay, well, we can think about it. So those talks probably started in early September and kind of winged through the end of the year. And then, of course, I made that when I finally got out here, I spent a few months out here just kind of, filling it out and getting acquainted with it. And Memphis is definitely a top 5 city sports fans. I'll tell you that right now. So they won me over and I was like, you know what, give me a shot. And this is where we're at right now. So I took the opportunity and went ahead and made the move and been here ever since. And so it officially got announced this week. So.
Very nice. Very nice. So obviously we connected via LinkedIn. So I was kind of looking at your background a little bit. I'm like, okay, well, what makes him a good general manager candidate, obviously. So I noticed you had some background in like sports medicine and some of the potentially medical care in general. So I'm kind of curious and I wanted to hear it from you in particular. How does your background translate to making you into a good general manager for an indoor football team?
So initially graduated from Tech State with exercise sports degree. The thing is I didn't know what I want to do, honestly, brother. Honestly, all the degree told me what I could do is I could just go personal trainer or be a PE coach. So I was like, oh crap. So I had brainstormed what I want to do, but I fell in love with the rehab side of things. I spent the better part of 3 or 4 years doing rehab director, Cooper's Institute, Texas Institute of Sports Management and Weight Distribution. So I did that for about 3 or 4 years. But I was around a whole lot of athletes, brother, a whole lot of athletes. And what I confound is it's just the prevention of injuries, treatment of injuries. That really drew me to the game. And from then on, I just kind of got into the football game operations and things like that, and managed a couple of teams myself out in Mesquite and in Florida. And I kind of grew my way up from there. But starting from that bottom, being an athletes guy, being a players coach, being that guy who could, really go in and get the athletes. And honestly, man, back in the day, ACL was a death sentence for players. You know what I mean? Like they never came back. And I put a lot of players on that came back and was like, you know what? We can still do this. And so for me, it was the thing of giving these players hope. And I was really successful at that, really good at that. We brought in players that, maybe didn't have a chance anywhere else. And I made, we turned them into some dogs. So that's part of my resume as far as getting into the game. Like I said, I've been at it ever since. But I still have a signature of a healthcare background, of course. Got to make mama proud and use that somehow. So that was where I've been for about 6 years. Then I got to the geriatric population. But I've been in sports management and team management, executive level of management, almost for the better part of 12 years. So.
Very nice. Very nice. Some stuff I was not aware of. So glad to hear that. And obviously the fact that you've got some indoor football experience is obviously applicable and going to help, I imagine, just launching this new team. But TJ, do you have any questions for Mr. Fisher?
Yeah, thanks for joining us this morning.
Appreciate it, TJ.
Being having this new role in the TAL, what are you most excited about going into this season? And also what are you kind of most nervous about as well?
Not too many nerves right off the rip yet. Don't quote me on that. Probably tomorrow I'll tell you something different. But I'm so excited about the city, man. The city is so damn. I mean, since I've gotten here, it's been nonstop. This has been everybody's. We got the Memphis Mafia. We got. We have so many people that are just delayed to have the team. I'm most excited about putting the product on the field. Representing the city, being as professional as we can to build this brand and start with something from nothing for the inaugural season and build it into a championship winning team. That's what I'm excited about. A little bit of nerves is, how that's going to come to fruition. Of course, in the back of your mind, it's always like, hey, how are we going to do this? But we do have a great support system, great league commissioner, and great consultants as well.
Love it. Cody, do you have anything?
Yeah. When it comes to promoting and stuff down there in Memphis, we've seen, and I don't take this like derogatory, but so many franchises, so many different teams, leagues, what have you. What's going to make this one stick? What's going to make the Hound Dogs stick in the TAL in Memphis compared to the Memphis Express, the Memphis Pharaohs, all of those that have just, as you say, and we can all agree, like Memphis is a pretty good city. It should be a sports city. How are you going to make the Hound Dogs stick?
You know what? You said it perfectly. So every one of those teams that you just mentioned excluded the community. Let's just be very honest. They, it's kind of one of those things where they showed up in the kitchen and then we had to ask, hey, what are you cooking? You know what I mean? Nobody was a part of the menu, the recipe, or anything else. But I promise you that's exactly what I'm doing right now. Getting involved in the community. I'll be honest with you, just because you put a sports team in a city does not mean it's going to be successful, because if you don't have community buy-in, especially in these smaller markets, like I said, when I say Memphis is a top 5 sports market, that's the lower markets. Look at Green Bay, look at Nebraska. Look at some of these markets that you have. They're exploding just because they have fan buy-in. And that's exactly what I want to build here and build off. My main focus right now is reach out and just to answer the question that you exactly just, asked me and tell everybody else, say, be fully transparent, be like, hey, look, we're here for the long run. I'm here as long, until I die or they find somebody better. Other than that, in my mind, it's just like, hey, to build. I really do feel like these leagues are hyper local. Memphis has almost 20 zip codes. We need to hit every one of them. You know what I mean? And it's just like, and everybody who's ever lived in Memphis who wanted this opportunity to have a special team, we're here for you too. So it's just building on that hyper local and making sure everything's successful on that end, and on the other end, good ownership. That's what it has to be. It has to be people that are willing to just not, come in and support the team for the season, but you need people on deck. You need working capital. You need things like this as well, honestly, to build up on a team, to pay the players, do the players right, and coaches. So,
speaking of coaches, obviously that's a big question still to answer for the Memphis Hound Dogs. Can you? Obviously, I don't imagine that you can give us all the candidates' names, but can you name any of the gentlemen you might have spoken with about the opening?
Ooh, too many.
That's good.
I don't know, without putting out people too many names, because we're still going thing. But it's been. I'll tell you right now, they're local. Some of them, a few of them are local. A few of them are, of course, have worked with probably some of the universities that you're familiar with in the area, things like that as well. But we're not taking that off the table to say, hey, look, get some of the local guys who worked with some of the leagues in the past. Just to bring that back. Really can't give any names, but you will be actually the first person to know once we do kind of start filtering those out. But I mean, I've talked to about no less than 10 people this week who are very excited about the opportunity, who are excited, who have those players, who have that developmental task that we want to do. And also people that want to recruit dogs. I mean, I don't want to make this a gridiron game type of situation, but we really need some guys who can play some ball. That's what we need to get. And we need a coach to do that. So everybody that I'm talking to right now has those ties to the community and those ability to get those players. So.
Interesting. God, the wheels turning on my head. I'm gonna have to start looking around and see if I can't put 2 and 2 together here.
But... No, Sam, you'll be the first. I'll tell you. We'll talk. I'll tell you exactly. That way you can get in your mind. I
appreciate that.
I don't want to. In case somebody's like, "Oh my gosh, I knew it." I was like,
definitely. TJ, any other questions for Mr. Fisher?
Oh yeah, being a new team in the league. How do you feel like having a little bit more of a compacted offseason compared to some of the teams that are established and have already been around? How do you feel like that's maybe hindered a little bit of things, maybe because of the faster timetable?
Yeah, it's just at the end of the day, nobody's going to have sympathy for us once we get in that field. I hate to say that, So I have to think about it like, hey, look, we have just as much time as everybody else. Every offseason is different. Everything's different. But honestly, at this point, we can't have excuses. The time lapse is kind of right now is going to put us in that condensed. But honestly, if you're studying for a test, you know what they say, hey, the best time to do it is right before. So we're really trying to compact everything. But honestly, this will help us kind of weed out a lot of issues that other teams have already had. So we're kind of bypassing those. We're seeing what the mistakes was and kind of what the holdups was, and we're jumping right into it. So as far as timelines, I mean, we're still on pace for us. And a lot of things are happening behind the scenes, guys, like that we're just really trying to tie it up before we get out, because of course, the city's been stung a couple of times. So we don't want to keep pushing out things and having to relap things. A lot of things have come and gone and, different types of situations. But what we're definitely going to do is make sure that, on May 31st, we're ready to go.
Cody, do you have anything?
Yeah, I haven't really looked too deep into like the roster or anything. I'm assuming you guys are still trying to scout players and stuff, but you talked to us a little bit about the benefit of being in Memphis, and I'm going to use D1 universities, FBS universities, but being so close to like obviously the University of Memphis, Arkansas State, over to Nashville for Vandy. I mean, even Knoxville for Tennessee, but even Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, even up into Missouri a little bit. Like all of these different states that you can recruit from is how beneficial is that compared to like say a team out in like Utah where there's only a couple of universities and you have to have guys fly from the East Coast and whatever all the way out there.
Good Lord. Well, you missed 4 more universities. We got Rhodes College up the street. We have, you're absolutely right. Our backyard is packed. And the thing is
I said D1. I said D1.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, we're not counting D3. Okay. Sorry about that.
No. I mean,
they're going to kill me.
I was saying D1 like Arkansas State and stuff like that. Of course, there's so many FCS schools in Louisiana and Alabama and all the HBCUs and all of that stuff too. So I get it. And plus D2 and D3, I get it.
No, and you're absolutely right. But we got to we have to get them to buy in as well too. These kids, I mean, I've talked to just as many players as I have coaches, and maybe more than that. I've gotten so many different highlights and films, and they're all local. What I want to do is we want to kind of start from within and move out. We want to give every opportunity to play. I mean, we got guys from Memphis, we got guys from, as you said, all over the place, Georgia, Alabama, Louisiana, and they're itching to come play just for the simple fact of the sheer aura of playing in Memphis. You know what I mean? Everybody likes that. The city's called Grit and Soul. So that's a hell of a title to carry if you're a football player as well too. So that's what we want to do. My scouting right now has been probably just local, but of course we have scouts and coaches that we're working with that are potentially bringing in people from other states as well.
So I want to ask you about this venue, Memphis Sports and Events Center, and hopefully I have the correct venue there.
Yep, yes, sir.
This thing is beautiful.
It is.
Have you been able to visit it yet?
I've been there a couple times, but I'm touring. I'm not gonna get too many places. So I'll be touring there the 27th to go to the final walkthroughs of the turf and everything like that. I mean, we are moving, and like I said, I'll send you literally a video, a walkthrough that we're doing there. I mean, it is. I mean, honestly, dude, 3,500 seats. We have the suites as well. It's clean. It's beautiful. It's right on the other side of the Liberty Stadium. So I mean, it is beautiful. I mean, to have that arena to call home is nothing else I could ask for.
Agreed. I was just looking at pictures as you were talking, and it's very nice looking, very presentable. I was trying to pull up some photos, but unfortunately, it's not cooperating with StreamYard at the moment. So we'll have to post some pictures afterward, just trying to give people a view of it, because it looks like a very perfect venue for the TAL, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. And family oriented too. I mean, a lot of the kids and everything, they just had a basketball tournament there last week. Volleyball was there. I mean, it's already got that aura of sports in it. So just to add us for entertainment is going to be amazing, brother.
That's awesome. TJ, did you have anything else for Mr. Fisher?
Yeah, just one more. If you're talking to somebody who is new to the sport, new to the idea, concept, whatever, what is your pitch to not only get them into the TAL, but also to come to a Memphis Hound Dogs game?
Oh, absolutely. So I'm gonna put my Bo Schembechler head on right now. We got maybe Woody Hayes, it depends. But no, I mean, I'll just say, hey, look, I got to sell the community in the city before I say anything else. Everybody, I mean, so some of these guys, football is football. They'll play anywhere. They'll go play in an elevator somewhere. But I mean, to sell the team and say, hey, look, if you play here, I mean, somebody was telling me about Paxton Lynch the other day, and they still, I mean, I was freaking out because they were just like, are we going to get him? I was like, look, guys, I don't even, you know what I mean? You're remembered forever if you play in the city of Memphis. That's all I have to say. So that's the first thing that we're going to sell. Other than that, it's just like, hey, look, if you want to represent your community, your state, the best place to do it is in Memphis. I mean, and I want to give these guys, this is going to be the best platform for these guys to make it to the next level. And I'm just going to be very honest with you. I mean, we have so many different leagues and teams popping up around the area, but as far as Memphis and Tennessee, I mean, if you wanted to have a platform to slingshot yourself above everybody else, it's going to be here. I mean, with the media, I mean, over 20 media outlets. I mean, that's unheard of in a market of less than 1 million people. You know what I mean? Newspapers, they're still doing newspapers out here. Good Lord. I mean, newspapers. I mean, the aura that you have in this city is amazing. And this is honestly for your brand. So if you're looking to build a brand, come to Memphis. And that's what I would say. And then second, it's just, hey, look, the arena itself, the arena league, like I said, it starts with the commissioners, starts with the owners. And I don't know if you looked up who a couple of our owners are in the, but I mean, we have some pretty good reputations and some pretty, high level people, running the teams and part of the teams. And that's what I want to present to. And of course, you can't forget about Tim Brown, Jeff, of course, the league, and then of course, Tommy, everybody has built these guys are proven. These guys are proven. Hell, I'm probably the only one that's not, but I mean, these guys are proven. So I put 100% of stake behind them. And hey, if you want to play football, come play. There's a famous interview with Kurt Warner saying, hey, look, one of the best things he could have done was played arena football. I mean, he literally expected to score every freaking play, and we do too. So when he took that to the next level, he was shocked when they was like, we're not going to score on this play. So that's kind of what I think about it. My mentality is too, is having somebody like that come in and be always the accent of what you're doing. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And not to kill any of your promotion, but fans, Paxton Lynch is a little bit busy. He's playing with Colorado at the moment, just so everybody's aware. He lives in Denver.
He does.
We're keeping him for now. You guys, we'll talk after the NAL season, okay?
I did that on purpose just for you, so you can.
Cody, do you have anything else? Sorry about that, TJ. What'd you say?
Sam's getting clingy.
Yeah, something like that. He's a great guy, though. Like I said, I got to meet him after the Pueblo game in week 1, and very respectful man, super humble. Was not quite expecting that. Super nice guy. So, Cody, go ahead, man.
All I was going to say was there's a former Memphis Express quarterback you could probably go after. He goes by the name of Jonathan Football, and I don't know if he would play, but you could definitely try.
Oh, I'm leaving no stone unturned. Trust me. Let me tell you this. I am actually born and raised in Bryan, Texas, right outside of College Station. So
there you go.
Yeah, but I will tell you this now too. We want players that that are actively that are looking to want to play. I don't know what Johnny's mindset is right now, but hey, if he wants to come play, I'll definitely open those doors.
That would certainly make for some waves for sure.
They definitely would.
Dorsey Golston, the head coach of the Goats, checking in. He says, welcome to the league. I'm excited to see the team. So I appreciate you tuning in as always, Coach Golston. Would love to get you back on closer to the season as well. So obviously we talked about quite a bit, your plan for marketing and stuff like that. You mentioned the community is kind of what powers the team. And obviously we're all indoor football fans here. We all know that this sport, probably more than any other, relies on the community to really thrive in these markets. So, you talked a little bit about the teams that have been there in the past and how the market's kind of been burnt a little bit. So, I mean, how do you go about trying to establish an identity with a new team when you know that market is kind of maybe a little bit hesitant to get behind you?
So what I've been doing for the past couple months and even this real past week is just being transparent, just being very honest. I mean, you can't ask people to open up their hearts, even their wallets, without just being honest with them and saying, hey guys, I understand. And so if I get a question, just like you asked me, saying, okay, so who's behind this? Who's pulling the curtains? Who's, really doing all these things? I'm very honest with them. And I'm saying, hey guys, this is what's going on. It's so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so. But at the same time, it's just being very, very transparent, because what I would say is right now is asking people for their support without giving them a reason is just insane. So you really have to understand. And like I said, if you're in a city like Memphis, you really have to start at the bottom level. Like I said, small businesses is going to be our savior out here. You know what I mean? Like we understand that, hey, we want them to be a part of the community as well. We want them to be part of the team. And I hate to say, when this is Memphis's team. This is Memphis's team. So what we want to do is everybody in Memphis should have opportunity to come see a game, and then make it their own. You know what I mean? When you go out of state, you want to say, hey, look, our Memphis Howl Dogs. You know what I mean? We want representation all over the state of Memphis. And that is the only way this is going to be successful. I mean, hell, the Showboats were living in Arlington when I was down there. That was kind of strange, but I mean, it was weird, but we also want community buy-in as well. We want the players to live in the city. We want to have community service in the city. We want them to be aware of what's going on. And just show the city that we're here for them too, so that's, I'll be honest with you, you have some teams that, use tax dollars for everything else, but don't give everything back. We want to be that team that gives back and gives back to the community, whether it's just signing autographs, being there, being, a face of the community.
Love it. Cody, do you have anything else for Mr. Fisher? Nope. Okay. Fair enough. Really, I guess the one thing that I will leave you with, or kind of give you the floor for, kind of give us your pitch overall. I mean, like what can fans expect out of the Memphis Hound Dogs in 2026?
Grit and soul, baby. Grit and soul. No, an exciting show, a safe show, a safe show, a family environment to where everybody can come on any given night and hang out and see, in my mind, the best form of entertainment that there is right now. You know what I mean? And if you've never been to an arena football game, it'll change your mindset. I had the privilege of seeing my first right out. I wish I would have caught a little sooner. I played for the Allen Revolution for half the season, but it changed my whole life. It changed my whole perspective. It really gave me an opportunity to say, you know what? If there are things out here that other options that people have, they need to know about it. You know what I mean? And you have young kids growing up. I'll tell you, my first professional game was a Houston Comets game in 96, I think, 94, 96. That was the only, I couldn't afford a Houston Rockets game. I definitely couldn't afford an Oilers game at that time. So, so the Houston Comets were our first actual thing, and I loved it ever since. But being able to go to an arena football game, having the whole family there, super exciting. Hyper exciting. I've never seen a sport where it's literally like nonstop. So that's what I want to tell everybody to come out, check it out. You'll fall in love with it. We're going to have, of course, respect our military. We have military nights, of course, family nights, do all these things. I think we're even looking to have, don't quote me on this, a pause night, a pause and people night, having little pets out. Hopefully, oh God, hopefully that goes well. But anyway, but yeah, man, just like I said before, involving the community and getting them involved. And as far as the Arena League goes, I'll just put it out there. We're the best league. I'm sorry. I'm not going to hold. We are. It is what it is. I don't sugarcoat anything. I'm not trying to be political. We're the best league. And I say that because of how it's run right now and everything that we're doing. Everything's rolled out. It's not being just rolled out quickly. Everything's being processed. Everything's taking a step to unfold. We're getting the community involved. And by the time we step on the field, it's going to be something special to see.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time this morning, Mr. Fisher. We really appreciate you for coming on and responding so quickly. I never honestly thought that when I reached out that we would get you on the following Saturday, right after you were announced. So I really appreciate you coming on so quickly.
No problem. You guys continue to do what you guys need to do. I love everything about you guys. And like I said, you guys are carrying the sport right now, and anything I can do or the Memphis Hound Dogs can do to make you guys successful, your success is our success. So let's go.
Absolutely. Golston says, I concur. TAL number 1.
My guy. Is he available? Where is he at?
Yeah. He's in he's with the Goats, the Kansas City or the St. Joe's.
That's right. That's my guy.
Yeah. Love Coach Golston. Great guy. Yeah, definitely would love to stay in touch. Hopefully closer to the season, we can start getting some players, some coaches and stuff on, help you hopefully build up some hype around your team for 20.
We definitely will. I'll be sending you updates every time I get them, brother.
Sounds good. Thank you so much. Appreciate your Saturday and enjoy the rest of the football for today.
You too.
Awesome. So we're going to hit a quick commercial break and then we'll be right back to talk about the IFL. That is the only league that we have not discussed so far. So we got lots to talk about. What was that, Cody?
I was just cheering. I was like, yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Sorry, let me find the right camera angle here. It's somewhere. We got a million of them now. All right. So
we gotta do our NAL betting picks too.
We definitely will do that. So quick commercial break. We'll come right back. But before
I know TJ has a lot to say with the IFL, so I'm excited.
That is true. So he does have a lot to say. In fact, maybe even some funny comments, but we'll get to it here in a second. Before we go to break, I'll give you guys this opportunity to remind everybody you have an opportunity to win some turf from the Sioux Falls Storm. That's why we've been rocking their turf as the background for a couple weeks now. All you have to do, as mentioned before, is follow Indoor Arena Football History on TikTok and or Facebook. There's the tag there on Facebook and find the contest keyword. Hint, it's pretty easy to find. Join our mailing list at shadysportsnetwork.com. Comment contest keyword live during Around the Indoor Football World. Like I said before, we're going to keep this open for quite a while. So with that being the thought, you have plenty of time to enter. There is also an extra way to enter that just kicked in a couple weeks ago. If you watched our interview with the founders of Sammy Strong, if you donate any amount of money to the Sammy Strong Foundation, and I just dropped the link in the chat, you will get a thank you thing at the end. Take a screenshot of that, DM it to any Shady Sports Network social media, and you will automatically be entered. You don't have to do anything else. So if you support the families that need your support who are going through pediatric brain cancer, in my mind, you deserve to be a part of our giveaway. So go ahead and get your donations into Sammy Strong, or do the steps above if you don't have the money to donate currently, and we will get you involved with this giveaway. On that note, here's your commercial break.
Like three, four times, maybe.
I gotta pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
That's right. If you haven't shared the show yet, make sure you get on your social medias and share this with all of your friends. And if you haven't done so yet, go over to Facebook, hit shadysportsnetwork.com or Shady Sports Network and click follow, and make sure you invite all of your friends to do so as well. So we're going to run through a couple of these comments real quick. TSDN, hi guys, good morning. Sorry I'm late. Great show. As always, make sure you're checking out their content over at the Sports Den Network, who we have partnered with now. A couple scores here from the past couple days. NCAA basketball finals, Siena 65, Duke 71. You also have High Point 83, Wisconsin 82, South Florida 79, Louisville 83. You got Troy 47 to Nebraska 76. Wow, got dominated there. You also have TCU 66 to 64. That looks like it was a great game. Then you got the IFL scores: Vegas 35 to Green Bay 37, Quad City to 27 to Fisher Strait 45. Cody, we're gonna start there. That way you can get the uncomfortable topic out of the way right away. You're a huge Quad City fan. What happened, man? What happened?
Fold the franchise. It's over. No, they got dominated. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Now, I don't know if I necessarily believe the people that I've talked to that, friends that are also Quad City fans, or, maybe certain Vegas Nighthawks coaches in the chat who said that the team quit. But at the same time, there was like a quit factor that did happen with Quad City. And I think a lot of it had to deal with Fishers. Fishers was just dominant on the lines, man. And I think once that interception that Daquan Neal threw into the end zone, like once that was picked off, it was like, this game's done. Like from that point, it's not that I wasn't paying attention. It was just like, we know how this game's going to finish. And Fishers just flexed their muscle, man. Like there's a reason why I picked them to be the number one seed in the East. There's a reason why a lot of people have picked them to not just make the playoffs, but go maybe on a little bit of a deep playoff run. The Fishers looks good. And I am really excited for tonight's game between them and Green Bay, because I want to see what Green Bay's up against. I want to see what Fisher's up against. And obviously Quad City plays Iowa, and hopefully it's a, get right game or whatever the case could be. But yeah, this first week, I'm not going to overreact, but at the same time, it's just one of those things where it's like, this team just does not play well on the road. They haven't played well on the road for the last couple of years, and it showed in week one again. And it's more of the same, man. It really sucks, but I'd hate to be like, oh, nothing new.
That's fair. That's fair. So we want to hear your thoughts in the chat. I'm pretty sure, remind me if I'm wrong, but I think all four of us picked Quad City last week, correct?
No, I picked Indy.
Oh, I apologize. I'll have to make
I
sure.
picked. I'm pretty sure I picked Fishers in this, but then I picked Quad City in the alley preview. So,
gotcha. Fair enough. I know we all were saying that Fishers, that 8.5 point spread was easy money, and I'm sure, and I hope everybody bet on that, because I did and I won. So obviously they not only covered the spread, they doubled it. So that was kind of crazy to see, to be honest, but that was a good bet, and Off the Wall mentioned it here. Cody mentioned it. I think at some point all of us mentioned it because it was that good of a value. But Coach B is joining us, so bring him in here. Coach B, we're talking about Quad City and Fishers. Were you surprised to see the victory there by Fishers?
No, I had Fishers to win.
Why do you say that?
That just a roster, man. They roster was stacked up. I like what Dixie Wooden did, and then they brought in Coach Jerome Cook, which I think is one of the best defensive line coaches out here, untold. So he was one of my D-line coaches at the Iowa Rampage, and you could tell that D-line really got after Quad City.
They did indeed. That defense was near unstoppable. And cheap plug, one of their defensive backs will be joining us next week's episode. Jaden Rowe, who had an interception, will be joining us next week's episode. So make sure you tune in for that if you're an IFL fan, and specifically if you're a Fishers fan. So definitely excited about that.
defensive player of the week. You got to plug that too, bud.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm sorry. Underselling his value a little bit this week. As soon as I saw that first interception, I was like, Jaden, what's up, man? Can you come on the show next week? He hit me up immediately after the game and was like, I would love to come on. So
my biggest thing, though, is Quad City. They need to establish a passing attack outside of Keon Williams, and they need to find a solidified number 2 option. I love Kevin Rudd. I've known him for years. Great guy, but he's getting up there in age, in my opinion. So
I think that's the challenge, right, of the IFL when you look at it. And I'm not making excuses for Quad City, but I mean, obviously every team leans on some of their veteran players that are willing to come back year after year after year. So
what was that receiver? The receiver from Iowa, Cody, who played with Keon last year, at number 2. He was really good for Iowa.
Iowa?
Other side, he played the slot on the other side.
You're either looking at, it wasn't number 2. You're looking at either number 5, who I think was Caleb Hood, or number 7, who was Jalen Bracey.
Bracey, yeah, they should sign him. Yeah, that would be a good move. Yeah,
I want to
That's
see
crazy
what their
that
wide
you say
receiver
that though. Quad City got some receivers that they're not dressing over there. I've talked to some players. They got some good receivers who haven't been dressing.
Well,
I think what it is.
They had
Coaches need to
Jalal
get out of that
Dean
veteran
suited up.
status. Yeah, they need to get out that veteran status.
They got Jalal Dean suited up. I think he played last week. I don't know how many snaps he got or if he even caught a ball or anything like that. I was more like the passing game was, to me, the passing game was fine. The running game got shut down, all things considered. I don't think the passing game was anything. And obviously, if you have Keon Williams and Jordan VC being your deep threats, I think the passing game was all right. And especially when you're down 45-27, you needed to pass the ball, and I think that works well in their favor. What didn't work well is they did not run the ball. I think they only had 12 rushing attempts, and most of them were from Daquan
Neal, right?
And,
so obviously, outside of Daquan running it, I get it.
Yeah, and so that's my thing with Quad City right now is it's not necessarily need to establish the passing game. You need to establish the running game, and that's what helped them out, not just last year, but in years prior, whether it was with E.J. Hilliard, and the 1 year where they had Judd Erickson and Mike Irwin, like the running game was non-existent because the quarterbacks couldn't run. They were statues in the pocket. So you got good wide receivers. It's can the offense and the offensive line, more importantly, can they help the running game? Because that's something that I noticed that the offensive line was doing well until Fishers just wore them down. And once they wore them down, you couldn't run the ball. They were worn down. They couldn't create the gaps. They couldn't create the edge. They had to throw it. So more or less, you need to establish that running game. I want to see what Trenton Barnes can do. Jared Ware leaves a little bit to be desired. For all intents and purposes, Ware's good, but you can't leave it up to Daquan Neal 24/7. Simple as that. You've got to have someone else run the ball.
Absolutely. Obviously Daquan Neal, great dual threat player. That's why you bring him in as your quarterback in the IFL, of course. But at the same time, giving the ball to Jared Ware in the run game only 2 times, like it's inexcusable. You're not even attempting to run the ball at that point. And at that point, the defense can key in on either, stopping the quarterback run or strictly dropping a bunch of people back in coverage and keeping one guy as a spy. And then all of a sudden, what do you do as an offense? There isn't much. So
I'll tell you this, and I know, TJ, wants to give his thing with Vegas too, but I've been following Coach Ross in Quad City for years. We play them 2 times a year, and there are very few coaches in the league that can make adjustments mid-season like he can. So I believe that he'll get the ship right real quick. So
I agree. Also, I wanted to throw this out there. I mean, if Fishers has an entirely new coaching staff compared to last year. The only returning person that I know of is Dixie Wooten. So I thought that was interesting that they came out firing like they did and stopped Quad City so well on offense. So kind of just an interesting caveat about this game that I was actually not aware of until I looked at the staff after the game, and literally every assistant coach has been turned over from last season, which is crazy considering they were, in my opinion, a fairly well coached team last year. But like Krish said, TJ has some thoughts on the Green Bay Vegas game. Before we get to that, Cody, what were you saying?
Well, 2 things. One, I was going to say really quick, just maybe go around the horn, just yes or no. Does this Fishers team kind of remind you of when Dixie Wooten was at Bay Area with what they've done? I mean, that's what it reminds me of a little bit. When he was co-head coach with Rob Keefe and what Bay Area did to win that championship, it looks very, very similar to the players they brought in, to the schemes that they're running. It's not a one-for-one, but that's what it reminds me of.
That's fair. It's fair for sure.
And then number 2, go ahead and set up the Krish out alert for when TJ starts going. So,
got my finger on the button. All right, we'll get into this Vegas game. So obviously another fact about our show last week is I'm pretty sure we all picked Vegas to win. Due to our, I don't want to say doubts about quarterback position in Green Bay, just our uncertainty. You know, it's not that any of us necessarily doubted that they would have solid play. It was just we didn't know yet, and
your kid picked Green Bay, so we need to have him back on.
That is true. I mean, future profit in the making, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, you know, Jaden DeLora played as advertised, 17 to 22, 158 yards, 3 touchdowns. Liam Thompson, however, played really well, specifically in the run game, which I was not expecting. 14 for 59, 2 touchdowns. He also threw for 2 touchdowns, but only passed for 98 yards. So kudos to Green Bay for protecting their quarterback in his first start with the team, and really kind of leaning on the players around him, and then also leaning on his athleticism, allowing him to kind of get into the game and learn the game before he really kind of is counted on to throw the ball over the field. But TJ, your thoughts, my friend?
Man, it was depressing. I'll tell you what. First my beef lose, and then that happens, man. Now my first thought of the game was kind of a lot what we were all talking about in the chat, not to make light of it or anything, but you know, that is literally what the game would have looked like if the league played in 2020. Obviously, financially and everything, they couldn't have done that, but it was kind of weird. It kind of, I feel like it almost hurt the intensity maybe at the start of the game because the crowd wasn't there to be into it and get them amped up and everything. It honestly to me kind of seemed like, you know, Vegas came out a little flat. I'm not gonna lie. Green Bay, they were on the ball, they were flying around. It just seemed Vegas was a half step behind early on. You know, the offense, yeah, they put up points primarily in the second half, but especially in the first half, man, it was just like, man, what do we got to do? You know, as like fans, what can we do to cheer this team on because they're not giving us much to go off of. Then the end of the first half, the mismanagement of the clock when you should have been able to put points on the board, then you couldn't. It was just a nightmare. But again, fast forward to the end of the game, it is not the sky is falling in Vegas because they were right there at the end. And hey, you know, that's why you don't just look at the game on paper or look at any play on paper. You watch the game, you play the game. Because things like that can happen. You know, you tell anyone, oh, yeah, Vegas is down by 2 with 30 seconds left at Green Bay's 5-yard line. You're like, all right, Vegas wins probably. Nope, not always. Do I agree with that play call? I don't know why they weren't just content with either number one sitting on the ball that close with a kick with a solid kicker, or there were still 23 seconds, I believe, when they either after that play or when they snapped the ball on the play that the fumble happened. You know, you had ample time. They still had 2 timeouts left, at least one, I know for sure. You know, you could have done, you know, a quarterback scramble or, you know, a different type of play or just straight out ran it up the middle or something. Instead, they tried to get a little cute. It backfired. And yeah, it's very unfortunate. I just wish they would have gone a little bit more conservative personally on that play call. But again, it's 1 week. And you remember the championship came down to the wire. So did this game. I would rather Vegas came out on top of the last game instead of last week. So,
You know, one thing I want to ask you, TJ, you know, you're a special teams, right, guru, so you kind of understand this at a high level. You know, Vegas, they gave up 4 kickoff returns, I believe, for 98 yards. You know, they had a little trouble. What adjustments would you make special teams wise to kind of elevate the unit?
I mean, personally, for both special teams and defense, especially early on, man, there's a lot of missed tackles, over pursuing, things like that they can just easily clean up. Again, that could have all just been first game of the season, getting back into it. But yeah, there was a lot of missed tackles. You got to wrap up. You have to get the right angle. You can't over pursue. You have to fill the gaps on special teams coverage. Then obviously, when you have a lot of big returns, those are the mistakes that when you look back at the film, they're going to be there.
Cody, your thoughts, my friend.
I said this in the recap a couple days ago on my channel. Go look at it. Shameless plug. If there were 5 quarters, Vegas wins this game, but you don't play 5 quarters unless there's overtime. And is to TJ's credit, this is something I was talking to my dad about. You're getting down to the 1-minute warning, and Green Bay calls a timeout with 1 minute and 10 seconds left, and that leaves Green Bay with 1 timeout left. And I'm telling my dad, why are they calling timeout with 1 minute, 10 seconds left? Why don't they just let it drop to the 1-minute warning, and then Green Bay still has 2 timeouts? Regardless, I'm sitting there thinking Vegas has this in the bag, because once you get out of the 1-minute warning, all you have to do is sit on the ball a little bit. You're trailing, so you can kneel, you can do whatever you need to do. Green Bay has 1 timeout. You can milk this clock, kick a game-winning goal. I think Vegas got aggressive. They wanted to score that touchdown and leave no doubt in their minds. And the exchange was fumbled between Delora and Josh Tomas, and Green Bay recovered it. And unfortunately, that's some of the stuff that happens. You've seen, go back to like college football, even with a punt, with trouble with the snap with Michigan and Michigan State. There are instances where just crazy, sorry to cuss, but crazy shit happens. And this was just one of those moments. You had him dead to right. You have an all indoor football honors kicker in Gabriel Rui. He's only been on the field to miss 1 field goal, and it was pretty much a glorified punt. You had him, and you decided to be more aggressive, or whether or not they were trying to run it that direction because that's where he wanted it on the hash marks, I'm not sure. But it's just, you don't want to sit there and be like, it should have, would have, could have in the first half, because you could have. But at the same time, there were mistakes that were made on both sides. Vegas just made a couple more, and you're left scratching your head, and Green Bay was able to capitalize. Like I said in my preview, Green Bay needed to play perfectly. They didn't, and they still held on for the victory. So that says more to me about Green Bay. Not going to overreact on Vegas. They're still on the right path. But Green Bay, you look at that and go, this team can compete in the East. When I say the East is open, and I've said that for weeks, the East is freaking open.
Yeah, I would say after this game, there's really no doubt. Green Bay, like we all said last week, we didn't necessarily have doubts if they were going to be a good team. We just had doubts about them up front in the season, just because of the uncertainty at quarterback, like we mentioned before. But Thompson looked pretty good, and if he continues to play that well or better the rest of the way, Green Bay is going to be a really tough out. And then you look at Quad City, like we said, we didn't anticipate that game out of them. We expect them to be a very competitive team the rest of the way. And then, you look at the way Fishers beat them. That was an impressive win. And you have to definitely respect them a lot more, despite the fact that they kind of underperformed last year when we all kind of expected them to be a good team, or a little bit better team than they were last year.
I will add too, Vegas defensively, to me, they look faster than last year. They look faster. The DBs, I know Cody pointed it out in his preview or review. Fred Flavors, young DB, right? Really, really, really physical, for his first game. Really impressed with his play. The linebackers in Vegas with Ian McBurrows and Trent Tatum, that's a great 1-2 punch, in my opinion. So they got the pieces in Vegas to be a really good defense going forward.
Yeah, that diving pass breakup that Fred Flavors had, that was incredible. But to Krish's credit, and on the other side, Jawan Mitchell played really well for Green Bay. And that is something I'm looking forward to in this week, is how does he play against Fishers? In that secondary for Green Bay, how do they react against Fishers in their passing attack? Because that looked good against Vegas. Can they continue that success this upcoming week?
Green Bay also had a nice young DB from Austin P, Devontae Davis. I thought he played great. First play, man, he went at Randolph. So I was impressed, with his level of physicality as well. Green Bay, they got a nice D line down there. Nice D line. So
TJ, I know you need to get out of here. I promised that we would do our NAL picks. So real quick before you get out of here, who do you have between Omaha and Salina in Salina and Dallas versus Pueblo in Pueblo?
I mean, anyone who isn't picking Dallas in that game is, super smart because Pueblo is going to wipe the floor with them. So Pueblo in that one. And obviously, come on, man, go beef.
Get out of here, man. Thank you for your presence today, as always. Really, looking forward to next week, and thank you for everything you do throughout the week.
Thank you guys, and see you guys next week. Enjoy some football.
Absolutely. Catch you next week, man. Thank you. Also, for anybody who wasn't aware, TJ is the one that's been posting all the graphics that are asking questions about the games, getting your opinions, stuff like that. So if you guys like that stuff, make sure to, throw TJ a thank you, because honestly, I just literally have so much on my plate I can't do it. So TJ's taking some stuff on my plate off my plate to help, create some content and give us a little bit more engagement on the social media profiles, and it's been awesome. So the next topic at hand for the IFL is the partnership with, is it Pendular? Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. As the official highlight technology partner for 2026. So I wanted to go to Cody first on this one. I'm not going to lie, I've not spent a ton of time looking into this, but what are your thoughts on this partnership for the IFL?
It's something that I've wanted the Indoor Football League to do for a long time. This is helping them pretty much create highlights in real time and help promote the league. So they're getting this out to their social channels and stuff like that in a very timely manner, instead of waiting until like 45 minutes into the game and you're looking at first quarter highlights on Twitter or Facebook or whatever, and you're like, oh, that play happened 3 quarters ago, man. So it's like, this is actually getting the highlights out in a timely manner. So when you see Keon Williams score a touchdown or whatever it is, not like, a couple minutes later, it's on social, and you don't have to rely on someone like myself or Off the Wall. We'll still have the highlights and stuff like that for sure, but they are taking charge, and this is something to help market and promote their product, as they should be doing, to get these highlights out, to get eyeballs on the product, to say, hey, you can score a touchdown ball. Excuse me. You can score a touchdown while falling over the wall, or, look at this touchdown celebration, or whatever the case could be, or look at this interception that bounced off CJ Parrish's helmet and got intercepted by Jaden Rowe. Like, this is something that the Indoor Football League has needed for a long time, and I'm glad that they've got this deal done to do it.
Agreed. I think that's one of the things that, when you look at like major leagues, that's what sets them apart. And if you're the IFL and you want to be considered the major league of indoor football, this is something that it was a necessary step. You build a lot of hype when the fans can go all over every social media platform in the world and find, highlight plays from your league. That's what the NFL does in real time, as Cody mentioned, throughout games. And I think that that's a big reason why we've seen the NFL turn into the kind of media giant it is to this point. So, Krish, what are your thoughts on this partnership?
Yeah, last year, I believe the league utilized Snipback. I think it was called. It was a platform, and a lot of our coaches were saying like, man, it's just a pain in the ass to use, right? So for them to pivot and use this, I think is a good for the league. It's just another way to make it more efficient, more accessible to the fans, and the Indoor Football League is continuing to honor their mission statement. So I liked it.
Good tagline right there, Krish. The Indoor Football League is continuing to follow their mission statement. you could prepare speeches for people. Coach B, what are your thoughts on this partnership?
I'm not gonna lie and say that I have a thought on it. I do not have a thought on this one. Every
That's
week
fair.
it's something new with what they come out with, so I just want to make sure it's solidified first before I even speak on it.
That's a fair point. After this season, there have been some issues that have popped up, but I'm optimistic this is not going to be one of them. Let's see real quick. Let's see, what other topics would you guys like to cover? San Diego takes huge defensive losses. Krish, I assume this is something you put on there? You did? All right then. On that note, we can get into our betting segment and our NAL picks.
You're back. Yeah, you won froze.
I froze?
Yeah, you froze. Now you're back. Yeah.
Oh, I apologize. That's weird.
Okay. Other indoor football league news. That's what you were asking. Okay. So, man, I got some great news about San Diego. We got some big things to talk about San Diego. So, breaking news. So, earlier this offseason, they went ahead and they reconstructed their entire defense, right? They added Edwin McClendon from Northern Arizona. He refused to report about a month ago. They added Javonte Davis from Louisville, linebacker. He signed with the UFL, so he's not coming. They placed him on refuse to report for some reason. So yesterday, or like 2 days ago, they placed Ali Fayad on refuse to report. So he's not coming. So that's a huge news. And they placed Malik Jones, the DB from Jacksonville, on refuse to report. So that's two major losses for them defensively.
Yeah, huge losses.
They just signed Adam Anderson, defensive lineman from the University of Georgia. He has a hell of a past, but I mean, I guess he can play ball. So
you're forgetting that they also traded Karat Garland.
Yes, they did. What's going on in San Diego, man? This whole new defense.
Not even that. They are having some battles with workman's comp from what.
The whole Draco situation, but
Can you hear me, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, from what I heard, they had a problem with workman's comp. From what a player told me, right? From what I got is he hasn't been paid for workman's comp at one time the whole offseason, and they've been going through some issues with that as well out there.
If it's the player I'm thinking about, there might be some other situations going on with that could affect that. But regardless, that's always a concern. You know, if players aren't being taken care of for their injuries, that's definitely something that needs to be addressed regardless. I don't care what league you play in. Players are putting their bodies on the line for our entertainment. And I think at the bare minimum, they need to be taken care of medically after injuries because it's bound to happen. Football is a violent sport. You cannot avoid injuries for your entire career. So if they're not taken care of in the correct manner, then I think that's an indictment on the team. And that's something that needs to be fixed immediately. I'm having a trouble at the moment pulling up the betting screen for DraftKings for some reason. So let me go ahead and pull it up on my phone so I can at least pull up the odds. But let's just go around the horn real quick. What are you guys betting on this week? Krish, I know you've probably got $1 million on Orlando to win. Drinking vodka this early in the morning, bro?
Hey, Chris, you're gonna be mad at me because I'm picking the Chupacabras.
I wonder why that might be.
Nah, man. Look, at the end of the day, like them 5.5 is hella disrespectful. Honestly, I can't believe they got us done like that. But you know, I feel like this is a great opportunity for our boys to go down there and kind of prove, you know, it's a new era of the franchise. And then we got new leadership with Coach Keith coming in. Jawad has built a great team. I love our D-line. Our D-line, I feel like, can be one of the best in the league, in my opinion. We got 7 guys who can go start any day of the week for us. So really excited for that. You know, we got a new linebacker, Kari Coleman, coming in from Ole Miss. You know, great guy to have. And then our DBs, I mean, DJ Daniel, he's going to take that next step. Ro Torrance on the defensive side. We got Will Sutherland coming in from the CFL, University of Oklahoma. So we're pretty deep on defense. Offensively, this is a great opportunity for Talia to come in and get his confidence up, you know, and prove that he's a starting caliber quarterback in the league. And I think he can do that. And I think Puka Williams is going to run all over New Mexico D-line and expose Xavier Jackson in that defense. So I'm excited, man. I got us -5.5. I think we can win by 25 to 30 points. I think people like Trey and them trying to sit there and say, oh, you know, New Mexico scoring 39 points. It's all an attention grab for me, in my opinion. I mean, it's just, you look at the rosters, look at the two teams, look how far ahead we are. I mean, those are semi-pro players in my mind. So
How many players did y'all bring to camp?
29.
All right, just checking. Okay, y'all been having problems already down there. But from what I heard, New Mexico had a great camp. I mean, a great camp. And they installed some great things. Like you said, you can't count them out. It's a new organization. You never know what they bring, right? Am I right, Chris? You never know. And who they got at quarterback. And I heard he's in some of the best shape of his life right now. So you would take Tua over Jerome Johnson?
With the talent around him?
I would take the weapons around Talia.
No, not the weapons. I'm talking about the quarterback. Which quarterback are you riding with?
Well, you can't have one without the other. This is a chicken and egg argument here.
I agree. Look, Jerome, obviously Jerome is more proven, but Talia had the weapons around him. Talia had the offensive line. Talia had the running back in the league.
He had the weapons around him last year too, right? He had the same weapons around him last year.
He only got one opportunity.
Yeah.
Hey, in the NFL, you only get one shot. You got to prove it. When it's your chance, you got to take that opportunity when given, right? So I don't want to hear no more excuses. No more excuses, understand?
Is that New Mexico's offensive coordinator in the back seat?
No.
Driving him to the game right now?
Yeah, that's Josh Meyer. We're going to a community bit.
I'm just messing with you, man. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, honestly, I think this is going to be a better game than a lot of people expect, but I'll get to some of my thoughts here in a second. Cody, what are you betting on this week, man?
I mean, for Saturday, I've got, and I'll get the preview up here after this is over, but I have plus 114 Green Bay with the fans in the stands. Pull the upset. Now, Fishers is usually going to win that game, but why not get a little plus money when you can? Now, I say that, but Green Bay, they looked really good against Vegas. I'm really excited to see how that goes. Quad City, minus 198. I don't care if they win by a point. I am up here in the damn Quad Cities. I want a victory. I don't care if it's a walk-off field goal. I drove 5.5 hours up here. I want to see my team win a goddamn game. Orlando, minus 5.5. Just because it's less than a touchdown, and I think Orlando can win by a touchdown. Hold on a sec. And then finally, I've got San Diego minus 8.5. The reason why for that one, they just have talent all over the board. I want to see what Nate Davis does with that plethora of wide receiver talent that he has. Bringing in Cole Blackman from Tulsa, buddy, that wide receiving room is deadly. And when you've got a gunslinger like Nate Davis, ooh, buddy, I want to see what San Diego's capable of. So that's what I got indoor football-wise.
That's fair. So my bets that I've made so far this week, a couple things. So I did parlay all the unders this week because I said I would do it last week and I messed up and did not do that. I also then bet the under in Orlando versus New Mexico and Iowa versus Quad City. And there's a reason why on both of these games. So you look at these two games, and of course, Orlando should handedly beat New Mexico. I'm not trying to be rude to anybody in New Mexico. I just think they're a more talented team currently. However, I do not expect this to be a high-scoring game. If you look at the Pirates, they historically start slow. They do not score a lot of points early in the season. If you look back at last season, they did not top 40 points until their third game of the year. So I believe that we're going to be seeing a low-scoring game in this one. And again, no offense to anybody in New Mexico, but I do not have them scoring over 40 points either. The under is 78.5. So as long as both teams don't top 40, 39.5 points, you're going to get a win there. So I also have the under, as I mentioned, Iowa and Quad City. Quad City, very similar to the Pirates. They start slow. So they're in their first two games last year, and then their first game this year, they did not top 40 points either. This is an 81.5 under. And as much as I love me some Andre Coles up there in Iowa, I do not have him scoring over 40 points in this game either. So just a couple bets to watch. I also bet on Green Bay at plus 114 with them being at home and just winning over Vegas. I feel like that's a worthwhile bet in my opinion as well. So
I'm in my picks now. So Iowa, Quad City. question for the group for Iowa. Their quarterback Harry Rubu, Harry. I can't pronounce his last name.
Robidoux.
From San Diego, right? In Mexican League too, right? He played in the LFA as well. Was he a starter in the LFA? Was he a good starter, or was he?
Yeah, he was a good starter. He got some good tools to him.
Yeah,
so he only suited up 2 games for San Diego last year. He didn't get any game time action with Nate Davis being the starter.
Yeah, I look in college. I mean, he threw 52 touchdowns and 48 interceptions. I mean, he is turnover prone, but I do expect him to play. I do expect Ivan Corbin to get some snaps too for them. I mean, Ivan is a dual threat quarterback down there. I just don't think Iowa's quarterbacks are up to the quality of good caliber in this league. So I think they're gonna have trouble moving the ball on Quad City. So I like Quad City minus 5.5. I think Keon Williams and Daquan Neal going against their former team is also some extra motivation as well. Fisher and also Snoop Blackman. This is his first time calling a defense. He's the Iowa defense coordinator, so this is his first opportunity. So there's going to be some learning and adjustment, especially with a bunch of rookies on defense. Fisher in Green Bay. I mean, Green Bay proved their D-line is good. They're going to make Felix Harper have to throw the football. But I like Felix. I like all the tours. I love the receiving core they got down there with JT Stowe, CJ Whitnam, and Isaiah Coulter. And I know what those guys can do. Give me Fisher's minus 2.5. I think Indy can win the game. Orlando, obviously us minus 5.5. Like I said, I think we can win by 20. Northern Arizona and San Diego. I think this is a new Northern Arizona team. It's a new dawn. We had Coach Higgins on last week. He spoke highly. I love the team they're building in Northern Arizona. I love the defense that they got down there. So give me Northern Arizona plus 8.5. I still think San Diego can get the win though.
That's fair. So as with last week, I am taking suggestions for bets. So I left a little small chunk of money in my account for bets that you guys suggest. So if you guys think there's something I should bet on, let's do it. Let me know what you guys think I should bet on, and I'll throw some money at it, depending on what you guys say. As I mentioned before, I have already bet on 4 items this week. So whether it's IFL related or not, let me know. C-Dog the Goat says I got Quad City, Fishers, Pirates, and my San Diego Strike Force. C-Dog, correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't you related to somebody on?
Yeah, his uncle is Coach Taylor.
There we go. Thank you. Well, we really appreciate you tuning in all the time. Project Superfan's going to give his picks in just a second. A comment I wanted to get to here. I hope Richie Murphy can find a team to go to after getting cut from Quad City, which you probably know he is going to find a team. Coach B, are you going to sign Richie Murphy?
Richie Murphy want to play in the IFL, man. He want to play there bad. I do think he deserves a shot, but he got to go where he fit, and I don't think he understands that. It ain't about publicity or marketing. He needs to go where he fits in somebody's scheme. But if he want to come down here to Odessa, he can come on. I offered him a contract in Iowa. He didn't take it, so I don't offer twice.
That's fair. I just got a direct message that said, can we post an over-under for how many times Krish interrupts people during the show? It's got to be 5.5.
Yeah. For sure. I can't even argue with that.
I'm just kidding. It is funny that
Can I read a story?
The show. Sorry, go ahead.
I'll let you finish your thought. I want to read a story after you're done.
Oh, go ahead. You're good. I'm good.
Okay. The story that I have is worry about your semi-pro team before commenting on anything else. About to knock your ass out and leave no evidence. Enjoy the show. Hashtag belt to ass. Hashtag stay humble. Hashtag 7 days till the crime scene. Chapter 2. Don't worry, coach. After the crime scene on Sunday, they won't ever say a word. Hashtag belt to ass. Hashtag free smoke. Chapter 3. Stop believing the narrative. It will be a close game. It won't be there. There's levels to this shit. Hashtag belt to ass. Chapter 4. At Keyfence and the men are about to turn all of this red. Hashtag belt to ass. Krish, why are you so humble on the show but tweeting all of this?
Hey, I always believe in my brothers to go handle business, and that won't ever change. So I feel I believe we got a great team, and I believe we're gonna go handle business. That's it. That's all it is.
Hey guys, this is going to be a very good game. I hope both teams have fun, but wait until I get on X and I am completely talking mad shit on you.
I mean, they blocked me on X. I don't really care anymore. It's what it is. But
New Mexico blocked you?
yeah.
Wow.
You know, the GM,
I'm over here crying, man. I am over here crying. Chris, you are crazy.
hey, if you want to block me, you block me, man. Like, it's the GM, man, because I posted the photo. He was accused of sexual misconduct when he was with the LA Kings hockey team. So I posted a photo of him in his mascot uniform when he was with the LA Kings. And apparently he couldn't take he's running from the truth. I'm like, bro, like Trey, I love Trey to death, but he'll never post something like that. I will, though. I don't care. I'll speak on it. You know what I mean? Like, what's going to happen to me? Like, pull up, man. Like that.
Well, hold up, though. He was accused of?
Nah, he settled for it, man. He settled for it. Read the article. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's a whole different story. Post away.
Yeah, if he was accused, then we can't say nothing. But if he's found guilty, then we can report.
Look, I know in some situations people feel settling is the best possible way to get something to just disappear, and whether or not you're guilty or not. But that definitely sends an air that maybe you actually did it and you don't want the conviction. So that is.
But no, in all seriousness, like I talk a lot, but it's really just support. Like I really want my team just to go down and handle business. Like I know we can. I know we got the talent. We got way too much talent not to beat a team like that by 25. It's really disrespectful to me that they're even on the same turf as us, man. Those guys should be asking our guys for autographs. You know what I mean? Like, that's my opinion.
Well, Krish, when you say stuff like 7 days until the crime scene and stuff like that, like I can kind of see why like a team might block you, but welcome to the club. Brian, are you blocked by New Mexico? Why? Off the wall. Why am I getting ricochet shots, minding my business over
I'm
here?
just saying, man, you're supporting New Mexico by saying they're scoring 39 points. It's hella disrespectful.
He's doing 50 Cent meme. He's like, what? Why me?
Exactly.
All I'm saying for the book that I just read, which co-written by Krish, all I'm saying is I want that energy for every single week. That's all I'm saying. Like you can't just out New Mexico like this. I want whoever they play, I want that every single week.
Hey, I told Coach D, man, when we play them in Vegas, in wherever we play them, May 18th, it's gonna be the same energy. Like we're putting belt, so it doesn't matter who we play, where we play. It's one goal, one team, right? One mission. So that's it. It's
a lot easier to talk the smack when you don't have to be the one to take the hits on the field. That's for sure.
That's for anyone though. That's for Cody too. I mean, Cody's gonna get a train ran on him when we play them.
Oh wow. I give him respect though, Sam, because he does no matter what, win, lose, or draw, he's gonna ride with the Pirates, and I respect you for that. I respect you for that.
100%. I think every team in the world wishes they had fans like Krish, because at the end of the day, like you said, he's gonna ride with the Pirates, win, lose, or draw, and he's gonna come back talking all the shit the next week, no matter what. It doesn't matter if they lose by 50. He's gonna, give them a little bit of the business and then still talk smack. But I wanted to hit this right here real quick. You're getting ricochet shots because you live rent free in Krish's head all the time. He's constantly
thinking 39 points, man. Whatever, like this.
Man, that's a huge bet right there. New Mexico had a Krish out this time. That's hilarious. New Mexico admin is about that. They want that smoke in Albuquerque. Yeah, he definitely, whoever runs that page, they definitely feed into the social media a little bit, which is on one thing, I think it's good because I think they definitely get a lot of engagement because of it. But on the other hand, I think some of it's a little bit much.
I mean,
it's hypocritical.
It is.
It's hypocritical when you're talking smack and like they had the tweet which Krish replied to. It was when Vegas lost and like it was a gif of like Ryan Gosling and they're like, oh look, you moved down the standings, and it's like you can do that, but when Krish talks S to you, and then you block him and you're just like, okay, you can't talk out of both sides of your mouth when it comes to that. You're either going to bring the smoke and back it up and take your lumps or you're not. Like you can't be blocking people for that.
That's fair. That's fair. Look at that. Krish is an author. He is published now as well. It's on Twitter. You can read it anywhere. Quick response. Kevin says it kind of gives away who may have said something about the over-under thing. And then Quentin Humphreys. I had to switch over my account. Coach B, you all ready? Krish is mad at me for saying his favorite team is going to win and cover. What a strange person.
Not even that. It's just
What the hell? You were blocked by Salina and Billings in 2024?
I'm sure.
Alrighty. And then, wow, why is that Krish? I'm not sure what that was referring to, so I apologize for not getting that right away.
Yeah, I wonder if 2024 being blocked by Salina and Billings had to do with like the AFL and all of its rollout or lack thereof with like the nets and everything that went on. That was the disaster of AFL 3.0. So I wonder if that's how he got blocked.
It's possible. Brian was very involved with the voodoo in 2024, so I'm sure he had some he had some strong opinions on everything that went down with the AFL. And then this is hilarious. I can't even. I was blocked by the team I was rehired by once, so I wonder who blocked him, huh? Krish. But any final thoughts before we get out of here for the day?
I still haven't done my NAL picks too.
Oh yeah, sorry, NAL picks. We'll do NAL picks. So who do you have this weekend? You've got Omaha at Salina or Dallas at Pueblo.
I'll start with Dallas and Pueblo, man. I think Pueblo can beat Dallas by 40. They Dallas is not a good team. They're not well coached. I know Coach B's mentor Aquinas Frazier down there in Dallas, but I don't think he knows how to coach defense. So
you got jokes today, huh, buddy?
But hey, they gotta go running back. Dejon Richards, he was signed with San Antonio and Hot Springs before he fled overseas. They got Trey. He went overseas, and then they have Trayvon Samuel down there, and then they got Samuel Stewart. He's a decent quarterback, but I mean they don't really got the pieces to contend with Pueblo. I think Pueblo is going to have a great game. This is a really good game for Josh Hollins and Aaron Dilworth to stat pad. You want to stat pad in this game, and I feel like they'll both be able to do that at a high level. I think Pat McSweeney will have a nice game too. But I like Pueblo to win, let's say 52-12. 52-14. Let's say that.
I like that.
And then Omaha and Salina, man, I love CJ. I love Coach. I love what they got going down there. I feel like this is a great opportunity for them to kind of bounce back from last week and score more points. But I will say that you haven't Coach. Wait for this, right? This is a good opportunity for them to bounce back and start to bounce back. But they won't fully bounce back this week. Give me the Salina Liberty by 3 points. I got Salina winning this football game 30-27. I don't believe in Demary Croft to be an elite quarterback in the league, and I've said that all offseason. I believe in Evan Lewandowski. I think Evan is the better quarterback in this matchup. They got too many offensive weapons for Omaha to stop. They got Kayvon Samuel, Tracy Brooks, John Williams, Duke Williams, Ed Smith. They got a lot of speed on that offense, and I don't think Omaha will be able to keep up with them. So, yeah, I got Salina winning 30-27. So, that's my pick. What about you guys? Who guys?
I match that energy. I think I take both of those same predictions. I got Salina winning. I got them winning by 21, though. I think Coach O hungry. It's going to be a showcase game to prove he got something to prove against the Beef. And then Pueblo. I think they're going to put up about 70 points on Dallas. But I do think this Dallas Bulls got a wide receiver who's been showing out unsung, CJ Stokely. I like him. So he might do something. Trey Samuels always can do something. And then Daniel Tolliver on the DN over there, he's always a threat. So but the Bulls they're gonna get beat by I think 30 or 40 points.
Breaking news. I just got a phone call from Omaha Beef Nation. They have disowned Krish Vyas. They will no longer be accepting his support for Beef Nation. He has.
It won't be, man. Look, at the end of the day, like this is a Salina. You're going into Salina's house. You're playing Coach O. You're playing Coach Hampton. First set after taking a loss last week, it's hard. I don't think they'll bounce back. I think they'll bounce back next week. I could see Omaha losing this game and then coming into Southwest and putting the belt on Southwest. Because Southwest hasn't made any moves during the bye week. You know, Coach Thomas thinks 24 points against Louisiana is up to standard, but that's another story.
Yeah, we'll completely disregard the fact that they too were missing starters in week 1, but don't worry.
What happened to Jamel Wynn? Where did he go?
We know where he went.
Look at the goalpost shift from Omaha Salina to Southwest Kansas all of a sudden.
I know, right? It's weird how we all of a sudden skipped to week 3.
Nah, you'll be in the stands too, so you'll be.
I actually, unfortunately, will not. I cannot make it. Cody will still be there though. So I think we got him taken care of. He'll be in house singing the praises of how great Dodge City is, and hopefully witnessing a win. We'll see.
I just want CJ to take me out to breakfast.
Sorry, buddy. I was planning on
it. That's the other thing too. Krish, you went out to breakfast with the Omaha beef people. You need to pay them back if you're going to pick Salina. Look at what they did for you. Come on.
That's a good point. The team literally puts food on your plate and can't even get your vote of confidence.
I'm serious. Like, that isn't me being non-biased. I really feel like Salina could win this football game. I think Devery will throw maybe 1 or 2 interceptions too. I'll even add that on. I think he needs to develop, and him going into a loud environment won't be good for him for the first week. So he'll have some adjustment. But yeah, Salina.
Omaha's a bunch of happy meals. They might not win another game for the rest of the season. They suck. They're horrible.
I will say, Rick. I love Ricky, and I love the way he runs his franchise. But he's one of those guys. You can play poker with him 10 times, and he'll win 9. And one time he loses, he'll flip over the table. So if he loses this game, I feel like he's going to be really upset.
Man, that sounds like someone we don't know.
That's an interesting analogy. Like it's almost defensive, but it's not really, because all you're saying is that he really, really wants to win.
Yeah, like if he wins 9 times, he'll be happy, but the one time he loses, he'll flip over the table. So that's it.
So let's put that into perspective. If Orlando wins 9 times, it's fine, but the one time they lose, the table gets flipped over and there's excuses.
100%. Yeah.
Okay, see. Apple in the tree in the analogy there. I'll do my picks really quick. Omaha wins and Pueblo goes 3-0. I think Omaha can win a squeaker. I don't know. Maybe it's just me and I haven't been too keen on it, but I feel like Salina's had like a sneaky offseason. Like, you haven't heard too much. It's kind of been like bubbling under the surface. They've been here and there, but they haven't really made too many big waves. And I think that's something that could benefit them, especially since, the show here is sponsored by the beef and all of that stuff. But at the same time, I think Omaha's going into this with maybe a chip on their shoulder. They have not played to their potential, and they have an opportunity to do that here. I think that's how Omaha ekes out this game. And then, Pueblo, 7 days to the crime scene, belt to ass, whatever Krish wants to tweet. I think Pueblo takes the victory and goes 3-0.
Oh, my God.
I'm waiting for Krish to pick. Is that game on a Friday or Saturday, Amarillo, Louisiana? Because I can make mine right now. Hold on, let me check.
Let me check.
It's on a Saturday, it looks like.
No. Yeah, if it's on Saturday, we will wait till next week on that one. We don't want to give away any content for the future weeks. Otherwise, why would you guys watch? Although, like I said, do recall that Jaden Rowe will be joining us next week. He was defensive.
Oh, I do. So I do have a question for the group. Are you guys ready to make your MVP picks for the IFL? No, not for the IFL, for the NAL, I mean.
A little early.
I mean, you guys should, you got to put your nuts on the table, you just can't.
Are you changing your pick from the off season?
I mean, maybe, yeah.
Is it not the quarterback for Colorado?
I still think he can win it, honestly, but I think the front runner would be Hollins right now, of course, and then, but it can change, right? Like,
I don't know if I have anyone like set apart, because you also have to take into consideration how many players from different teams can have hell of a games against teams like Amarillo or Louisiana or Dallas or anything like that. Like, some of these teams that could put up 80, 90 points it could be it could improve their MVP odds drastically, and we're talking like week 7, week 8. Sorry, I don't know if someone's trying to break into my hotel. There's a lot of noise coming through. But, yeah, I don't know. Like, again, whoever plays like Louisiana and Dallas and stuff like that, they're easily going to get their stats padded and make them look like they're really, really good to the point where
Walters said they're winning a championship, right? They're winning a championship, according to Steve Walters, right? He said, they're content for a championship. So I think you might be wrong.
Man, I don't know. That's a tough question. I think, and this is early, and it's probably a controversial pick if you really want to look at it that way. But I think I'm going to pick Joel Shaw currently, just because of how dominant he's been. Hollins, I think, has been playing extremely well. But, I mean, as a running back, even though he lines up at wide receiver quite a bit as well, I just don't think you can compete or argue with what he's been doing for Pueblo. I mean, he brought that level of physicality that Krish talked about in the first 2 weeks that really kind of changed their game. And I saw firsthand, there were several runs where there were several touches from Joel in particular where he was a one-man army. He got the ball in his hands, he got going full speed, and he broke 1, 2, 3, 4 tackles on his way to the end zone, and scoring 3 touchdowns in their first game. Then he went back and scored another touchdown against the Beef last week. So I think the level of physicality and versatility he brings to their offense puts him in my favorite position currently. But again, it's really early. I would imagine that it's probably going to end up being a quarterback when we're all said and done. But if Shaw can keep up the pace he's had right now, he's going to be a really hard person to vote against, I think.
Sure.
Any other final thoughts you guys want to get to before we get out of here for the day?
Nah, man, just really excited for, this weekend of games. I feel like, we got 4 games on, and they're all at different times, so it's really easy to follow. We got 6 o'clock, 7:30, 8, and 8:30, so you can kind of watch it, in a row. But I think it's going to be a good week. I think I'm interested to see how Iowa looks. It's a new rebranded team, or I did say same old Iowa. I feel like there'll be some more firepower offensively for them, but I don't think defensively they've improved at all. And then for Green Bay Fishers, where is Indy at? Where is Green Bay at? Like, this is a really good, test to see how far ahead Indy is of everyone in that conference or where they are. But, yeah, man, and then for Omaha Salina, it's going to be a great game. It's going to be a championship atmosphere. It feels like this is a big game for Omaha. If they start 0-2, I'll be honest, I don't think 6 wins in this league guarantees you a home playoff game. I know. I really don't. I think 7 wins locks you into a home playoff game. So that's going to be interesting. There's so many. The NAL is loaded this year from 1 through 6. It's loaded. So I think there's a lot of talent in the league, and this might be the most talent Omaha has gone against in a while. So I think it's starting to show, for real. So I'm excited, and then for us on Sunday, man, I'm ready. But how are you guys feeling about? You got any final thoughts or anything you're looking forward to with AF1 starting up here soon?
Just more football, obviously. I'm glad that we're gonna have more to talk about. Cody, what about you, man?
Well, I'm up here in Davenport getting ready to watch the game in a couple of hours. I need to get the preview out so people can actually watch that and get impressed for it. Excuse me. I'm going to actually switch it up, Krish. I think the defense for Iowa is going to be somewhat decent. They do bring back quite a bit of talent from other teams. I mean, they do have Jacarius Smith and Tyler Tate on the defensive line with Jared Johnson. And I like what they've brought in with Amon Ross, the former of the Jacksonville Shark, and they do bring in Taylor Hawkins from Tulsa. So they know Andre Coles, and obviously he's more of an offensive guy, so I get that. I'm a little worried about what the offense has to bring when it comes to the Barnstormers. But now's a good chance as ever for Iowa to win. I mean, you got Quad City licking their wounds, kind of scratching their head. If Iowa can come in here and pull an upset, that's going to be insane. So we'll see how that goes. But Quad City by 50, easy. Any other final thoughts? I'm really interested to see how Fishers and Green Bay goes, and then you've got the other games to the rest of the indoor football league. If I'm able to catch any of the NAL stuff, I'll try and get to that when I can. But I'm ready to go celebrate the day in the Quad Cities. So.
But one more thing, really excited for our game Sunday. New Mexico, man, we're coming for you. We're about to put that belt and see y'all soon, baby. Let's go. I'm excited, man. I'm so excited. We're about to run the trap. We're about to blow them out, and we're going to put the whole world on notice because I feel like this is our year to win the championship. So I say that every year, but I feel like this is and like Dallas Cowboys, man, every year. But this year,
even if it takes 30 years.
We got championship mindset. I'll be in Tucson, Arizona, watching Coach Davis walk off that field in shambles after we beat them in the championship game. So,
it never struck me until just now, but it's funny that you mentioned the Dallas Cowboys in relation to the Orlando Pirates. Just a little aside there.
Pirates
we'll see y'all next week. We're not even going to go there. That's completely inappropriate by you. But
okay.
Now I really hope Southwest Kansas gets that belt next week. So
yeah, it's all right. I dropped 2 links in the chat. The first one is, of course, our guy Cody's channel here. If you guys haven't done so already, make sure to please go over there and subscribe to his channel.
I'm one away from 300. I'm one away from 300.
There you go. Go help him get 300. I'm 100% certain we can make that happen before the game tonight. So let's go make sure he hits 300 subscribers immediately. Then also the second link I just dropped in the chat is probably a link that most of you guys may not click, but is some Polish football that's live right now. So if you want to watch some football that is live right now on YouTube, there you go.
Seth Morgan, former Quad City quarterback, he played down in Poland or Italy?
Something like that,
yeah.
So there is some talented players over there, and a big reason why I'm even sharing it is because the time change, so with them playing overseas, it's morning for us, but it's afternoon for them. So it is kind of cool to have a full day of football. I'm sure there's going to be some Italian football games today. Oh, look at that. 300. So thank you for that. We appreciate it, Adrian. But yeah, so if you want to watch a full day of football, just kind of keep an eye on YouTube, man. There's always games coming out from leagues all over the planet. And then, also, as always, make sure you're checking out the NAL games tonight on the NAL network. And then also check out the IFL games on Yahoo Sports. And
real quick, do we have a TV app for the NAL and overnight? Is there a TV way to access that on TV?
For overnight? I don't believe so.
It said on the how to watch, it says Apple TV, but I don't know if that's an actual Apple TV, because when I went on the Apple TV app on my smart TV, I couldn't find it. So I don't know if you need an actual Apple TV or not. I know that you have the app for it because I've got overnight on my phone. I've got an Android, so I've got that. My dad has it on his iPhone, so I know you got the apps for it. I just don't know. You can't Chromecast it either. That's the thing that sucks. Like, you can't Chromecast. I tried that, and then I eventually had to just plug my laptop into the HDMI and then do it that way. So eventually, hopefully they can get an app out, but until then, or at least like Chromecast it or something like that for your TV.
That would be nice for sure. On that note, as always, we have the bus stop coming up after this at 9:30 a.m. Mountain Time. So in about an hour. And then as always, we've got nonstop events coming out from our second channel. So Shady Sports Network live events on YouTube, strictly on YouTube for that live stuff. You can find it in smart TV in apps. Okay, good to know. Hell yeah, we rock. Go subscribers. Love it. Congratulations, Cody, coming from Project Superfan.
Hey, Cody, one thing I dare your defensive line to try to run them weak ass, or the DBs to run them weak ass coverages. They're running against Indy against us. I dare you to, because we're about to pick apart that defense. I think Puka might run for 200 against.
Dude, I've been knowing that Quad City secondary is one of the worst, man. Like, they were statistically one of the worst secondaries to give up yardage last year, and it's only gone into this season. Like, that needs to get shorn up and fast. Like, it's bad.
Fair point. Fair point.
And I use an example too. One thing I compare it to is like Duluth, Harvard Monsters, right? We say what we want about Javonte Johnson. I know Ben McCoy thinks Javonte Johnson is the next Donovan McNabb, but
weird comparison, but okay, continue.
Javonte, he had all the receivers, so he was throwing guys wide open. Same thing with Jerome in Vegas, right? Jerome had great receivers, so now he doesn't have that. And so now you can see how good of a quarterback he really is. I think he's still good. I think he'll still make plays, but he'll change up.
Yeah. Interesting. Where can we find the James Fisher interview? Well, I mean, it was on this show about the 9 a.m. mark. We brought him on just before that. So about an hour into the show, roughly 50 minutes ish. So look around that point and you should find it. It's available on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, LinkedIn, everywhere at this point. So
who do we think the head coach for that team is going to be? Like, who should they hire?
I honestly have no idea right off the top of my head right now. I'm willing to bet that if you asked him, Martino Theus is probably already applied. He is strongly trying to get his next head coaching opportunity, so it wouldn't surprise me if he turns up as a candidate. But we'll see what happens. But for the sake of ending the show without having it drag on for the next 3 hours on final thoughts, we'll go ahead and catch you guys in the next one. Hopefully you all tune in next Saturday, 8 a.m. Eastern time, or right about there. Sometimes we start the show a little bit late, but we've got, as I mentioned before, Jaden Rode joining us next week. So make sure you tune in for that. And then we will surely have another guest scheduled by next week. Enjoy the day of football, and we'll catch you guys next week. Also, if you like the UFL, tune in tomorrow, 8 a.m. Eastern time as well. We'll be covering the UFL every week going forward as well. You'll catch me and TJ on that show, as well as our buddy Michael Washington. And then Travis Lemon will also be joining us here and there as well. So catch you guys.
Yo, what's good? Cedric the bus driver here. I don't know about you guys, but I know what I will be doing every Tuesday, Saturday, and Sunday. And Thursday nights too. I'll be over at Shady Sports Network, so catch up with me. Holla at your boy.